6:09, March 2nd, and I will call the meeting order at this time. President Arano.
Present.
Executive Vice President Morris is here. Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs. Here. Office of the External Affairs. Vice President of Finance.
Here.
Marketing and Promotions Director.
Here.
Personnel Director.
Present.
Outreach Director.
Present.
Elections Director.
Present.
Non-Traditional Director.
Present.
President Pro Tempore Willis.
Here.
Senator Alcantara. Excused. Senator Casey Thielhart.
Here.
Senator Delson Boson will be late, excused. Senator Des Jackson.
Present.
Senator Giselle Ozuna.
Present.
Senator Joshua Lopez.
Here.
Senator Christina David.
Present.
Senator Nick Carrillo is in class. Senator Vernon Chan. Absent. Senator Catherine Kennedy.
Present.
Senator Melissa Vargas. Absent. Senator Nevin Pura.
Present.
Senator Wen Yu Chao.
Present.
On that note, we have quorum. Moving on to approval of the agenda. A couple quick typos on our mistake. On LRC committee, it says essential discuss and take action on chapter 23 of the bylaw. That should be chapter 13. Number 3 of the same section should be stricken altogether. Strucken, my mistake again. And under new business, item I, there should be an A item on hub referendum. It was included in the agenda preview packet. It wasn't included in the A. It was completely my mistake. Lastly, under office reports, it should be 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes. Are there any motions to approve the perfected agenda? Yes, Senator Lopez.
I move to move subsection B under section J to be before officer reports.
Subsection A?
No, subsection B under section J.
You should do both because 5 minutes also requires a vote
Okay.
approval.
Then I move to move both before officer reports.
Got it. The motion is to move subsection A and B
Yes.
Yes.
before officer reports. Is there a second to that motion?
I have another amendment.
Yeah. Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by Senator Corey Willis.
I got it.
Thank you. My mistake, everybody. Second by Senator Corey Willis. Is there any debate or discussion on this motion?
I just
Yes.
have a point of parliamentary procedure. So usually when I'm reporting, I move my report to the beginning of public forum. But if I have to leave, because I want you all to be able to vote on this before I give my report, will my report still be in the minutes even if I'm not physically here to give my report?
It could be done. Well, it's gonna be done 2 ways actually. So it's always, if you send it to the secretary, it's always included in the minutes.
Okay.
And if you want, I'd be more than happy to read your report to the public when your time comes up.
Oh, like read it to the public?
Yeah, or you have someone of your appointed person. If there's like a person from your office can read it as well.
It's okay. I'll just leave it in the minutes.
Cool. Any other questions or yes?
Amendment, can I move the hub referendum before ex-officio?
That's a different motion actually. Would you mind if we fix the first motion and the second one?
I'm sorry, what?
That's a separate motion altogether. Would you mind if we finish this one and go to yours?
Yes, that's fine.
Any other points? Yes, Vice President. Oh, did you have your hand up? Oh, no worries then. Let's call this to a vote then. All in favor of moving Finance Committee and LRC Committee to before office reports, right, Senator Lopez?
Yes.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unanimous. And the agenda shall be amended to move J above H. Any other motions to adopt the perfected agenda? Yes, Vice President.
I amend to move the hub referendum amendment before ex-officio.
There's a motion to move new business item I to before item E of ex officios. There's a second to this motion. Second by Senator Jackson. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none. Was there any discussion on the item? I skipped that step. Seeing none, thank you. Motion passes, and new business will be under right after approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the perfected agenda?
I
Yes.
Actually,
Actually, I had a last one, I'm sorry, this is just for time's sake. I'd like to remove section G, reports from committee chairpersons, right before public forum.
Reports of committee, right before public forum?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a motion to
Probably
move
could have been
reports from
consolidated
committee
into one
chairpersons before public forum. Is there a second to this motion? Seconded by Senator Lopez. Any comments or discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move this to a vote. All in favor of moving committee chairperson report to before public forum? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, unanimous. Motion passes. Agenda is reflected as.
Giselle did a vote.
Oh, okay. Then it was 8-0-1. Motion passes. Thank you for clarifying. We moved reports from committee chairpersons to before public forum. You go right?
Yeah.
Good. Moving on to,
I move to adopt the perfected agenda.
thank you. There's a motion to adopt the perfected agenda. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Willis. Any objections to adopting the perfected agenda? Yes.
Just to clarify, next time, try to do it as after public forum, because if you push everything before public forum, you're gonna have public forum and public comment. So it doesn't really make sense because everything's literally gonna be before public forum, so you could literally just discuss everything in public forum. You don't really need public comment at that point. So I'm just saying, like, next time, just try and do it after public forum. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Point is well taken. This board serves the public for anyone else. Are there any board member process? Moving to vote? Oh, cool. So agenda's perfected?
Yes.
Perfect. Moving on to approval of the Senate meeting minutes number 16. What is it? Cool. Please sign the back and after a careful review, and then lead it back to the Senate Secretary. Then we're moving on to new business next. And the Senate shall discuss the action on the hub referendum. Vice President of Finance, would you like to present?
Okay, so during February 11th, in the Hub Board governing meeting, Campus Administrator suggested that the Hub Board permanently cancel the musical festival. Campus Administration raised a valid concern that the current Hub referendum, which passed during 2001 ASUCR election, does not provide any funding for this type of special event. The Hub, the Heat Musical Festival was originally organized to improve campus life and enhance the student experience at UCR. In order to allow Hub to legally continue programming this event or programming this type of special events, I'm proposing an amendment to the Hub referendum. This amendment would not increase any student fees. Rather, it would just allocate the Hub funding for farther. I'm sorry. It would give the Hub funding.
Sorry, Vice President, real quick.
Yeah.
I can't see you. Would you mind moving to the podium?
Sure.
If any of the public wishes to see the business packet, it's up on the screen. And if anyone wishes to be added to on a viewing on the Google Doc, talk to Zena. She's in the front row. Zena, would you mind? She'll add to the Google Doc.
And we have extra copies.
And the center has a couple extra copies.
We have 3 extra copies. 3 more.
Would you mind passing down the extra copies to everyone?
Both of them.
Vice President, my apologies, your floor.
So the amendment would not increase any student fees. It will just give the option for Hub to allocate funding for Heat if it decides to do so. It does not require Hub. It only gives them the option. So the proposed referendum, it says the fee may also be allocated to provide funding for special programs and events, including but not limited to musical festival, as deemed in the best interest of the student life and the general well-being of the UCR student body. And I also included the whole amended version of the Hub referendum on the packet. Do you all want me to go through it?
For the purpose of the audience.
Yeah, the purpose of the galley.
Okay. So I'll start from the beginning. Okay. This amendment does not increase any student fees, but amends the existing Highlander Union Building expansion referendum approved by the majority of the student body in 2001 ASUCR election. If approved, this amended version will replace the original Highlander Union Building Expansion Referendum, also known as Commons Expansion Referendum, starting fall 2016. If this amendment does not get approved, the original referendum will still continue to be valid. And then it has the original text from the previous, so that's original. And then it introduces the update. The Heat Musical Festival originally organized by the Highlander Union, also known as HUB, to improve campus life and enhance the student experience at UCR. However, in 2016, concerns were raised over whether HUB should continue programming special events because the original referendum did not provide specific funding for them. This amended version will give the HUB the option, but not require them to, use student fees from this referendum to host special events such as Heat Musical Festival. And after this, it just says, okay, so also known as Highlander Union Building or HUB. It used to be called Commons, so just like, it doesn't change any of the things. So I'm just updating it from Commons to Highlander Union Governing Board. Go down, keep going down. And this is the whole text. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the actual thing about funding. The non-academic facilities such as Commons, which I crossed out and put Highlander Union Building, must be funded primarily through student fees established by the referendum vote of the student body. I took it if approved, just making it, it was already approved. This referendum will provide funds for the expansion, renovation, maintenance, and operation of the Highlander Union Building. Registration fees will also be used to fund the Highlander Union Building, in addition to reduce the cost of the project for students. And private gifts will be solicited. The total project cost will be approximately $50 million. The proposed fee for this project is $90 per quarter. The fee will fund most of the construction, the expansion, and the maintenance of the facility, as well as the building operation costs. So this is where I put the amendment, the amended version. This fee may also be allocated to provide funding for special programs and events, including but not limited to musical festival, as deemed in the best interest of the student life and the general being of student of the UCR student body. And it's the same from there on. After this, I just literally changed like from Commons to Highlander Union Building. And yeah, those are just comments. Also, should I be replaced? I took it out because it's not needed. Can you go down? Also took away go up because it doesn't apply anymore. To assure the student priorities for the facility, I just took that for the facility. I just put to assure that student priorities are maintained. All recommendations made by the board can be reversed by 2/3 vote of the ASUCR Senate and the Graduate Student Council. I just took out for the facility because it should be all student priorities, not just for the building.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
This is just like a consistency thing, but a lot of the things in here still say Commons. Are you going to change all of that?
No, so before that, can I go up a bit? I want to change it where, like one for here and well. Some things I just kept it as original because this is from the original thing. Go down. Go down. Okay, go. Yeah, so the original introduction to the hub expansion, I just kept it as original as possible. I just put that also known as Highlander Union Building or hub to let students know.
Still on here, it says that once the cost of project is paid and our student enrollment increases beyond the annual average, blah, 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 students may choose to use surplus funds to reduce the Commons fee.
I missed that. Thank you for.
And there's also one more. The first major phase of the proposed Commons is completed, fall 2004.
Okay, can we highlight that and cut it out and just change to Holiday Union Building, please?
Yeah, it's a grammatical error, we can change that on the floor.
Okay, thank you.
Is that what you wish to do?
Yeah.
Well, as it's perfected, then we'll put highlights there. Marcy, would you mind doing that in the agenda packet, please? Or if someone's on the agenda packet, who has access?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So that's your public hearing. Vice President, anything else?
Is there any question regarding this amendment?
Let's
Yes.
start a queue. Still my board, don't worry.
Sorry.
Who wishes to be on the queue? Thank you. We'll start with Senator Talley, then Senator David. Anyone else? Senator Pereira, and we will end there. Senator Talley, you have the floor.
Okay, I have a really good question, and then I'll yield the remainder of my time to anyone in the audience who'd like to ask questions as well. Was there a lack of funding for HEAP this year?
Lack of funding?
Yes.
No, there was no lack of funding for HEAP this year.
So, is the reason you're proposing this because there will be a lack of funding next year? Because the way I see it is originally, he was supposed to be canceled due to weather, not funding, so I'm just wondering why you're bringing this.
Okay, so the administration raised a valid point that in the original referendum, it does not mention anything about HEAP, about hub, hosting HEAP. So legally, we're not allowed to. Legally, it's not allowed for hub to host HEAP using student fees money from this referendum. So, and that's the concern they brought up. So that's why I'm trying to address this concern and amend the referendum. So we are allowed to have HEAP or whatever we decide.
So how would not passing this referendum lead to the cancellation of HEAP?
I'm sorry, please read that.
How would not passing this or not amending this referendum lead to the cancellation of HEAP?
Well, I would also like to say that we're voting on this to be on the ballot. So we're ultimately, then the student will be deciding if the amendment is good for them, if they agree with the amendment or not. My question to all of you senators are that, is this amendment worthy to be on the ballot? It's not if you agree with the amendment or not, it's like, do you think the student should have the choice to decide if we should be allowed to use hub referendum money for musical festival or any type of special events?
Would anyone from the audience like to use the remainder of my time to speak?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You might want to.
I just gonna say,
Okay. I yield the remainder of my time to.
Good evening, my name is Sergio Robles. If I could ask you, how's the HEAP Festival, how has it been funded for the over 10 years that it's been put on? And can you propose, what exactly are the students voting on? Because I think, from a realistic standpoint, students aren't going to care where the money's coming from. They just want to know if it's going to happen or not. So could you explain more about that? So how has it been funded? And if we take it from the hub, what would change?
Well, maybe Jim Simon could also help me out with this. Hub has been hosting this event, and I'm not necessarily. I'm not going to speak. Do you want to answer that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, one point of clarification in terms of, I'm not aware of any administrator, including myself, that has made the statement that the use of hub funds for HEAP was inappropriate. I think that given the way that the referendum is written, that was approved, that it is an appropriate use. What I can say is that at the last hub board meeting, which will be reflected in the minutes, that I went to the hub board and asked them to consider making a recommendation about the future of HEAP that was predicated not on funding or appropriate use of funds, but rather the fact that now for 2 out of 3 years that we've canceled HEAP due to weather, and obviously we're dealing with an El Nino condition that we weren't aware what was going to happen, but all the information we have suggested that we might be facing another cancellation, combined with the fact that we've had weather-related issues over the course of the past 10 years. And that it really raised the question for the administration as to whether or not we should be scheduling a large-scale outdoor event during winter quarter, which is what HEAT is. And so that was the fundamental question that I posed to the hub board, and asked them to come up with a recommendation by the end of the year. It had nothing to do with the legitimate use of hub referendum funds to pay for the heat expenses.
So it's because of the fact that weather can play an issue in that, that's why different funding is sought for.
It's not, again, in my mind, it's not a funding issue. It's planning for a large-scale event, outdoor event during winter when historically we've had problems with weather.
I guess my question to you, Jim Sample, is that are we actually allowed to use this referendum for heat or any type of special events? Because in this referendum, it only says, if you read the original funding, it says the fee will fund most of the construction and expansion and maintenance of the facility, as well as the building operation costs. It does not mention anything about special events.
I don't have the referendum in front of me, but
Do you want to see it?
there is a program component that's in the language. So that's a priority of use, but if you have a full referendum, there's a reference to program.
Okay.
And so a musical event is a program.
And even if, like I said, this is not, if we're going to continue having heat, this does not change anything. I'm just saying the referendum cannot be used as an excuse to cancel heat.
So, but right now, to clarify, it can be used to fund heat, right?
Well, if from my interpretation, it's not. From this, if you read the, it doesn't say in the referendum. I know he said it, but does that say in the referendum? I also would like to see the referendum. So if you could, like I said, you could read you all have the access to the 2001 referendum, and you can read it yourself. And you can see if there's funding for any type of special event. So I'm adding this amendment as a precaution. So we can make sure that the referendum is not going to be used against students to not have heat.
All right, a couple of things real quick. Unless there are any objections, I'm gonna add a 5 more minute time limit on this item before we call for a vote. Any objections to that?
Yeah, we need 5 minutes since we have like a lot of other stuff to vote on.
Yeah, because I actually have class, so like,
Yeah.
so I have a class at 6:30. Yeah.
Yes. Seeing no objections, about 5 minutes to vote? Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we need the full 5 minutes. If there's 5 minutes worth of discussion, if not, I think to make it
Yeah.
shorter.
Yeah. And if there are any questions or comments, please no back and forth, address all comments to the chair, which is me. And please clarifying questions, we haven't even moved on to debate yet. I saw hand in the gallery, the senator like to yield the red some other time too. Cat, please, still your floor. Julia, would you mind making quick, please?
Hi. So saying this gets passed, my question is who's going to plan heat and all other music festivals? Who oversees planning?
Well, it would be up to the hub board. So if it's going to be Todd Wingate, if it's the director, or if whoever is going to be the director, or whoever is designated with their responsibility.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, all right, Sergio, again, please make it quick.
So it's my understanding the reason this funding is being allocated is because of the fact that weather may play an issue. Is that not correct?
This, it getting canceled?
Yes.
To be honest, I mean, do you see rain? Do you see a lot of El Nino rain this quarter?
I don't, but it's happened before. So
Yes, it happened before, but I also feel like it could be used as an excuse, to be honest. And to be honest, I didn't also have any hard proof of evidence that it was going to have a lot of rain. They were just, he said, she said. They were just explained it, and I guess, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to recommend if you put this forward in the language, you include the reason why this funding is being proposed.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
I'd just like to recommend that if you do put this forward, you include in the language the reason why this funding is choosing to be used.
Well,
And what that all entails.
Well, it doesn't, this is what it entails. I'm not saying that we're supposed to use any specific funding. It just says that like hub board is allowed to.
Okay.
So it's just we're not required to, if hub board decides not to do anything, that's perfectly okay. It's just letting them be allowed to. So even if there is other programming written like that we're allowed to, it just adds to it. It's kind of like the constitution. Like it maybe have to be on the bylaw,
Okay.
not this is the
So if
constitution.
they choose not to, does he still get funded or no?
So as of right now, like then it would go to the board. If what is it called? If it does not get approved, well then ultimately.
All right, we're going back and forth
I'm
again.
sorry. If the student body decides that it does not want to provide funding for heat, then I will probably back off from it. So if the student, ultimately it's not like, do you agree with this amendment or not? Do you agree that it should
There's
be
an appointed voter,
the
there's an
student
appointed-
should decide or not?
Vice President, so the point of order by the other Vice President, I'm going to sustain. Let's move on to Senator Daly.
I think that this issue was kind of brought up prematurely and like kind of sprung up on everybody. And it could have been discussed first with administration because it seems like there was a miscommunication between you and Vice Chancellor Jim Sandoval. But when Vice Chancellor Sandoval came to us at a hub board meeting, it did seem like it was a weather issue at first. And if it's about the scheduling, I think we could have like argued and discussed it for it to be like at the end of fall quarter or something like that, since like block parties in the very beginning. But I think there could have been like some sort of compromise in that way. And then my second question, or that's not really a question, but my question is, does this have anything to do with the sunset clause of like 2018?
Yes, it does, because in the sunset clause, the original common referendum is gonna go away. Maybe in that referendum, it allowed funding for heat, special events. But in this referendum, I mean, you all could read it, and it does not mention anything about special events. So I'm just kind of like making sure that like if the hub board decides to do heat and this gets passed, that means like it'll be fine. Like it doesn't really like, we're literally saying that it's an option. We're not requiring hub board to do heat. We're not requiring them to do anything. It just gives them an option to. Any other questions?
Thank you. Senator, are you good? Senator Perez.
Chair.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Yes, then I will, 45 seconds to.
So I'm just reading off of the referendum language that was approved by students back in 2001. So, specific usage and scheduling priorities for the facility will be drafted and approved by the student comments, the Senate governing board, or the change name to HUB. The governing group responsible for assuring that student priorities are considered foremost in program, policies, procedures, and practices for the facilities. So program is part of the intended use of the HUB board, the HUB fund, and the HUB board has a role in establishing recommendations for the use of, again, program use of the facility. I just want to be clear about that. So I mean, that's the authorizing language that was relied upon for the heat in the first place. And the issue is not whether or not we want to cancel heat. The issue is holding an event in winter and Michael, you were at the HUB board meeting, and it'll be reflected in the minutes exactly what I said, looking for a recommendation based upon the fact that that winter is proven to be a problem.
Yeah.
I know you brought up the weather, but I also heard, like, we also had a conversation, and you brought up that should a HUB board really use this referendum to increase money for heat? You did bring up that conclusion. Even if, let's say, the program.
Time's expired. You might can call this to vote. I know you take the class.
Let me just vote. Can I just finish, please?
10
Can I get
seconds.
1 minute? Okay. Even if, let's say, the program, let's say, it does mention the programming. I'm not sure where it's saying that. I'm sorry. But even if we mention that, we're just double checking. We're just making sure that no excuse can be made. Like I said, it doesn't like, I don't think we're disagreeing. Like, if you agree that heat is allowed,
I'm going to suggest to the chair, please.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And like I said, it's not about do you agree with this amendment or not. Do you agree it should be on the ballot or not? Do you agree that students should have the voice to vote on this issue or not?
Thank you.
Okay.
Vice President, would you like to do the honors of the motion?
Yes, I motion to approve this amendment version of the HUB referendum.
Thank you. The Vice President moves to approve the amendment to the referendum, the HUB referendum, right? Is there a second to this motion?
Well, I'll make those.
Is there a second to this motion? Second by Senator Lopez. Are there any discussions or debate on this motion? We'll keep this very limited.
Yeah, put Mr. Procedure.
Yes.
For amendments to currently standing referendum, they have to pass through legislative review or?
I am told that they do not have to
Okay.
because it's a referendum, not legislation.
But referendum language, ballot language has to be approved.
Executive Director, I believe that you're the one, the Vice President cleared it up with. Would you mind?
It actually goes through the Vice Chancellor's office for editing, then it goes to the Chancellor, then it also goes to UCOP. And then usually it comes back all edited, and at that point, I think that we could vote on the amended version.
Well, I think first it gets approved by Senate, then it goes to Vice Chancellor, then it goes to Chancellor, UCOP,
It
and
has to
then.
come back and be voted on anyway, so.
Yeah, first
It
it has
just
to
needs to
be,
be turned in by March 11th.
first it needs to be approved by Senate.
I would assume that maybe if this is going to originate with the students, it should come from this board and also like approved at the end of version by, again, this board.
Yeah.
So we'll hold the vote here, then we'll hold the vote again if it makes all the way through the lengthy legislative process. Is there any objections to that? Seeing none, any discussion on this item? Seeing none again, we'll go to a vote. All in favor of approving the amendment to the hub referendum? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any opposed? Any abstain? 1, 2. The vote is 7-0-2. The amendment passes. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is ex officios. Yes.
I'll wait.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to ex officio reports. Any ex officio reports at this time?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Davidson with MESC. Tomorrow, actually, the MESC, in association with MSA and BSU, are hosting a vigil for the 3 Muslim African American males who were shot at execution style in Indiana. Got flyers, I'll pass it one on this side, and then one on the other side. And then I can conclude my report. I don't know.
Any questions for the ex officio member? Seeing none. Yes.
Point of personal privilege, not to the funds.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions we should know this time?
Hello, my name is Scarlett from Document Student Programs. We pretty much just finished up our week of walking on shoes last week, so we have our bullet banquet coming up Friday, May 27th in Hub 302. Doors opens at 5:30 and it starts at 6, so for students it's $20. For non-student it's $30, so it'd be really nice to have your support and see you all there and not have fun together, so that's that.
When and where again?
Sorry?
When and where again?
One more time.
When and where?
Oh, when and where? May 27th, Friday, Hub 302. It starts at 6, doors open at 5:30. $20 student tickets and $30 for non-students. So all of this money is going to go to the Poder Scholarship that is actually due tomorrow.
Thank you. Any questions for the ex officio? Seeing none, thank you so much for your time. Any other ex officio members that would like to report to the board at this time?
I've got 2 things for you, Senate. Due to new information received by the Judicial Council that cannot be revealed to this body due to FERPA rules and regulations, the Vice President of External Affairs is hereby removed for the remainder of the academic year. This is based on precedent set by Majority Opinion Number 5, and therefore there's no new majority opinion. Related, the Judicial Council has also determined that it is in the best interest of ASUCR to leave the office of the Vice President of External Affairs vacant until the first administrative day of spring quarter, March 23rd, 2016. We have the constitutional ability to ensure the smooth and efficient operation of ASUCR. We've determined that holding off on appointing a Vice President of External Affairs is within the bounds of this goal, and it is so ordered by the Judicial Council. I'm giving the chair of this body a copy of that right now.
Thank you. And this is the majority opinion?
The equivalent, yes.
And I'm assuming you're not taking any questions again at this time?
I'll take questions, but I mean, I can't really answer much.
To clarify again, in the very beginning, you said this position should remain, okay. I'm getting, correct me if I'm wrong, so you did not say that this position, the position of, so Momo should be vacant for the remainder of the academic year, not just,
So Momo is removed for the remainder of the academic year. That creates a vacancy.
yeah.
The second part is in relation to that vacancy, so it's just saying that the vacancy should remain open until the end of this quarter.
So it wasn't just the quarter, it was academic year to summer. Okay. The member of Judicial said that they were taking questions at this time, and anyone who wishes to get in the queue to ask questions. Let's start a queue. Anyone? Let's start with the Senator Willis, Senator Jackson, any other senators? Director Reyes, and we'll close the queue there. Lastly, would you please make sure I get an electronic copy of this?
Yeah, sure.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Justice Jackson. And then Senator Welch, you have the floor.
Okay. Hey, I was wondering, we've already had a pretty tumultuous quarter with everything that's happened with external affairs. I was just wondering if you could give a little bit more rationale to how leaving the position vacant even longer is best for smooth and efficient operation of the office.
Sure. I can't really answer outside of what we have written, but I can read what we have written. There are changes to bylaws regarding eligibility to serve pending. They are on the minutes for this evening, and we'd also like a grade check for winter 2016 to happen before we appoint someone to avoid any mess happening again. And this is related to just a lot of the administrative work that maybe a lot of people behind the scenes that don't understand happens. This puts an undue, to appoint someone and for something to happen for another person to be appointed at the beginning of next quarter, would put an undue hardship on our professional staff, it would put an undue hardship on human resources, on accounting, and just to put someone in for a short amount of time.
To clarify real quickly, grade check on
Sure.
the person we wish to appoint?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Senator Welch, follow.
Oh, okay. I get that, but that didn't answer my question of the functioning of the office, not undue burden on other people to do their jobs, but for the actual functioning of the office, like doing external work.
Also in this note, current eligible staff members in external affairs should make every effort to assist in the smooth and efficient operations of ASUCR by assuming any duties they can to keep the office running. That's what we're giving, that's the rationale we're giving why the office can remain vacant for just a few short weeks. And then at a later date, we can move forward with that.
Thank you. Next on the queue was, yeah, Senator Jackson.
All my questions answered, you're going to have to. She's yielding her time.
I usually have my questions answered.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Director Reyes.
I was just curious about the specific constitutional or bylaw basis for the removal of the VP of External Affairs.
I can't discuss that due to FERPA rules and regulations.
I can understand the constitutional basis for the removal and the creation of vacancy.
And I can't, to discuss that would be discussing FERPA rules and regulations. I can get back, I can talk to the Judicial Council and we can formally do that without discussing FERPA rules and regulations, but I'm not prepared to answer that question this time.
Again,
Can I clarify?
Yeah, sure.
Your question? I'm not asking about the specific information of the individual, but where in the Constitution that it pertains to the removal.
And I'm not prepared to answer that question.
So I'm clear though, we're talking about our governing documents, right?
Yes.
Okay. I believe there was a comment from the ex-officio.
I just wanted to ask, so the powers of the VP would be divided between the members in, like how would that work?
I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay, only because like I'm just trying to figure out like the events that we're planning, how we're gonna get funding from each event and like how that's gonna work.
Right, I'm have to get back to you on that.
Lastly, Executive Director, I'll yield a little bit of time to you.
Was he asking how things will get funded between now and then? Our president has the authority to sign on all budgets, so she could sign on budgets of anything that's needed.
Any last comments or questions? Seeing none, lastly, I would ask the Judicial Council. Would you mind clarifying when you're meeting in any ways we can have a little more open dialogue between our boards?
Sure, they're 5:10 to 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, or right before the Senate meetings.
Cool. And where?
In the conference room. There, it's also posted on the homepage of the website.
Perfect, thank you.
Is this yours? It's a Hub referendum amendment, or is it Shafi's?
Yeah, the Vice President, please, much. Again, just a second. Yes. Any other members of the ex-officios?
Good evening, Andres Medrano for Ex-officio CSP. So as you all know, we have Semana de la Mujer, a week-long series of events celebrating Women's History Month. I want to thank everyone that's been in attendance in some of the events that's happened so far. Tomorrow we'll be continuing with Tu Defines Tu Belleza, You Define Your Beauty, from 5 to 6:30 at Hub 367. And Friday we'll be finishing up by having a workshop about La Mujer Vencerá project, eye-opening exhibit that challenges society's definition of beauty. That's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Hub 267.
Thank you. Any questions for the member of the ex-officio? Seeing none, thank you for your time. Oh wait, never mind. Thank you. Any call for ex-officio members? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports from committee chairpersons. Any members of the committee chairs wish to report this time?
Hi everyone, my name is Eileen Tovar. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator / GCAP Chair for GCAP's Action Plan. I just wanted to inform all of you, it's on our minutes on the GCAP page, but we just approved of allocating funding for a solar greenhouse that will be built in our garden. So this would be the first of its kind within the UC system. So I feel like this is something that we should all look forward to, and we're happy to support. So we're going to stay in contact with John Cook, who is the director of the Office of Sustainability. We'll be getting bi-weekly or weekly reports from him. We'll be seeing through the process, setting up the meetings for this to make sure that there's transparency and accountability held out throughout this project. Also, we'll also be collaborating with the Office of Sustainability, another sustainability organizations on campus to put on an Earth Week celebration. So it will not just be on Earth Day alone, but just the whole week to bring in speakers. We're gonna have documentaries as well, and then a huge celebration in the bell tower. So we have that to look forward to. April 18th to the 22nd of spring quarter. And also we're thinking about holding a photo contest for UCR students to participate in. And then the winning photographs that we choose, the top 3 or 4 different categories, will be featured on the UCR Botanical Gardens website. So that's all.
Thank you. Any questions for the member of ex-officio? Yes, Senator.
Just a really quick one.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
For the solar greenhouse you were saying?
Yes.
You know when the project's to be completed?
That I don't know. I have to talk to John Cook because he still has to get the final bids for that project. So after he gets the bid process, then we can ask him for the timeline of when he thinks the project will be completed. So.
Yes. Of course. Any last questions for the member of ex-officio? Ex-officio member, I don't want to keep saying that.
Actually, I need to.
Yes.
We need to move to vote for the approved funding to go towards the solar greenhouse.
So you need to approve funding in your report to.
Yes.
Point of clarification. So large purchases by GCAP require the Senate to have approval before it goes to the allocation, and this is a little bit over $100,000. So
yes.
A little over $100,000.
Yes.
She has the exact
right
numbers
yes.
to present to you all.
Okay, so John Cook.
Pardon? A visual, yes.
Yeah, I can actually give you. Can I email it?
Please.
If you want, I can actually send it right now. Please support it.
Yeah, can you please? Thank you. Yeah.
I'll send it to you already.
Send it to Marty, thank you. And if it's just a doc, send it to Marcy as well, and see if she can present a packet. To clarify though,
yes.
It's not really in our governing documents because it's a little bit weird, but generally any action items, especially financial action items, especially things like over $100,000, we should usually know about before by 48 hours in advance.
Okay. It was just approved of today. So
And
I apologize. Okay. So yeah, so the breakdown. So John Cook
needed about, he asked us for $86,731 for this project. He's gotten some money from UCOP, but he still needed additional funding in order, to be able to continue this project. Then recently, when he went back to get another assessment of how much the cost would be, ended up raising an additional $50,000. So in order to meet that need, he applied actually for a grant. So he won't find out for sure if he has the grant up until a couple of weeks from now. But in order for him to go and get the bids and everything, he has to make sure that he has the money already for guaranteed, like he can get money for GCAP in order to get the bids and get that process started. However, if he happens to get the grant of $50,000, then he will not use the GCAP money unless he needs it. Otherwise, if he does need it, he has to let us know. So I can show the breakdown once it gets.
Please do.
Yeah.
Parliamentarian? Thank you. So to clarify, there's an additional grant that we're trying to use, and we'll only touch the GCAP 100,000 if we don't need after that, or if
Yeah. So for sure he's gonna use 86,000. For sure he's gonna use $86,731. But the 50 is just in case he doesn't get the grant. But if he does get the grant, the 50,000 comes back to us. Unless he does need the additional 50,000, and if he does happen to need to use that money, then he has to notify us and let us know before he uses that money as to why. So that's, yes.
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
So for sure he needs $86,731. That was already we're going to guarantee him. But when he went to go get another assessment, he found out that he was going to need an additional 50,000. So in order for him to start to get the bids and kind of get the plans laid out, he has to make sure that he has funding for this project. So that's why he went back to GCAP and asked for an additional 50,000. So we are willing to give him the additional 50,000 if only he if he happens to get the other grant money. If he gets that, he has to use that money first, and then if he needs it, he can use the 50,000. But just to make sure that he can get the project started, we gave him the additional 50,000.
All right, let's ask for any questions real quick. Are there any questions for the exhibition? There's a time expiredness item where you're called to vote or we're asked to extend time. Is there any motions? Yes.
Move to extend time by 7 minutes.
Motion to extend time by 7 minutes. Is there a second? Second by Senator Pereira. Are there any objections? Saying none. Any question for the ex-officio member? We will start with, thank you, Senator Tatley, then Senator Pereira. You have the floor.
So far I understand the general breakdown of what you're talking about. Is there a more specific breakdown on what exactly they're spending this money?
Yeah, it was included in the email that Teresa had sent both of us. Or, yeah. She gave us 2 spreadsheets.
It should all be in your email right now. Unless the parliamentarian got it.
Yeah. So for the
Senator Tatley, you have the floor.
I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator Pereira.
2 questions.
Yes.
So assuming he gets a grant.
Yes.
And he would have to come back to you to ask for if he wants more money. Would that come to us afterwards? Or would it be on you guys to choose how much you want to allocate to him afterwards?
Well, the thing is that we already approved for the 86,000 and also the 50,000, just if he needs that cushion. So it's already given to him. But if he, like I said, if he happens to get the 50,000 through a different grant, which he applied for, then the 50,000 he doesn't need that from GCAP, and it ends up going back to our committee. But like I said, if he, let's say because of what other reasons he happens to need the 50,000 on top of the other grant money, he can use it, but he has to just let us know that he's going to use that money and for what reason. So that's where like so that there's transparency and accountability through this process. Yeah.
And my other part of the question, I don't know if it's in these emails that were sent out to us, but what are the relative benefits of going through this project?
So with the solar greenhouse, it allows to take on, so it'll be part of the art garden. So with that, we're able to, kind of do experiments and research when it comes to like food, so like with food insecurity, and that food will go back into the art garden, into the community, and hopefully into the art pantry. So this is something that's really gonna benefit the UCR community, and it's gonna be a good example for the other UC schools as well. Because like I said, this is the first in the UC system, so hopefully we're basically kind of like test piloting this project, and hopefully if it's shown to be successful here, other UCs will follow in our footsteps and hopefully put in solar greenhouses on their campus as well. Yes.
And then one other question, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but how large is your budget?
It's actually, it was back, can we pull back up the other spreadsheet? I'm really happy to share that information. Okay, so as of currently, our total budget for like solar for projects, it's $332,430.12. So that is what the current amount that we have. And then what John Cook is asking for is the $86,000 and of the additional $50,000 as well. So if we were to give him the 86, if we were to give him everything, the 86 with the 50,000, we'd have left over $262,487.62.
And where does that leave with the solar benches? About how much would that cost and stuff? I don't know if that's coming out, I'm assuming it's coming out of this as well.
The solar bench is actually through the hub governing board, so they didn't touch any of GCAP money. But if we wanted to, if another department came to us and wanted to get solar benches, then we could help subsidize that cost as well. So we can like split it half and half or however, or we can like buy one of the benches.
And then just real quick, yeah, so it comes from, GCAP paid for 2 of the benches, and that comes from the solar funds, because there's money earmarked specifically for solar projects, and that's where all this is coming from. That's where money from that will come from. So it's coming from the same pool, but I don't know exactly how much will be left over. I'm pretty sure there was going to be enough for definitely other solar projects.
Yeah, and we'll have money left over to help fund some of the bike share program as well. So we took that into account.
Yes, awesome.
Okay, so I like the idea of this, and I also like that we're basically the frontier of it, in comparison to all the UCs. Is there a way for us, so let's say we give him the funding, we give him the funding, and then he gets the grant, and then instead of him getting to use the next 50,000 if he wants, and just telling us, is it okay if he like gets it approved first? Because if that's the only amount that he asked for at the beginning, I don't see why he would have to dip into the other $15,000.
Yeah, if you want, we can make sure, we can put it to a vote beforehand. So that way we're making sure that the money that is being used is actually going to be used towards the project itself and not for anything back into their pockets. So I will write that down.
Okay, any last questions? Okay, seeing none. Again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm assuming no governing documents say that this should be sent to the GCAP board like 40 hours in advance. It does so in finance, it does so in outreach. And if it was a state board, we'd click on the Brown Act and we wouldn't be able to hear this item. But we're not a state board and we cannot click on the Brown Act. And it's kind of weird. But I'm assuming there will be no objections to hearing this item, which asks us to approve about $100,000. Okay, seeing none. I'm glad we're all very nonchalant about it. We're gonna move this to a vote then. Your next official member, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I move to approve of the funding of $86,731 and also the $50,000 for the solar greenhouse.
Second.
There's a second by Senator Wen Yu Chow. Motion made by the GCAP committee chairperson. Are there any questions or debate on this matter? Yes.
Does this include the clause where the $50,000?
Yes.
Cool. Can you say the numbers one more time?
Yes, so it's for approval of $86,731 and the additional $50,000 to proceed with the solar greenhouse project.
So the motion on the table is to approve $86,731 and $50,000?
Yes.
Out of the GCAP fund.
Yes.
Seconded by Senator Wen Yu Chow. There's been no debate or no last questions. We move this to a vote. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you do that one more time, please?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any opposed? Any abstain? One abstention.
Can I ask a question?
I yield my time.
We're kind of,
You're in the vote.
yeah, we kind of just
Yeah.
voted, actually. Yeah.
You can comment on it during public.
Okay.
If you want to comment.
There's 2 items on the agenda. One public forum, we should talk about anything. One public comment, where you can talk about whatever happened on the agenda. And you can always, we're all public servants, and you can talk to us anytime we're available, and we'll make time for you. So on that note, the vote passes from 9-0-1, and we approve. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Last call for committee chairpersons. Seeing none, we'll move forward to the next item on the agenda, which is committee reports, finance report. The finance, is it here? Senator Olson, I believe you're on finance committee, right?
Yes.
Would you like to read the report? If you don't, it's totally understand if I can do it. It's in the agenda packet.
I haven't seen one, so, yeah.
It's fine, I'll do it. The Oregon Continuing opening balance was $28,905. The allocated to the Ultimate Frisbee Club asked for $750. They were tabled. The Archery Club was asked for $750, and they were allocated $750. Total allocation $750. Consistently closing balance $28,155. That was the only allocations made in that meeting. Are there any motion to approve the finance report?
I move to approve.
Moved by Senator Perez to approve the finance report. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Tatley. All in favor? Any abstain? Any opposed? I did not vote her. But the vote is still unanimous, and on that note, the finance report is approved. Moving on to other committee reports. We'll start with Senate shall discuss and take action on Chapter 20 of the bylaws. President, yes.
Just a question. I don't know if it's appropriate at this time, but can we move public forum above this now that we
Actually,
have enough senators?
No, the public forum actually is above this, and I totally, because committee reports is above officer reports, so it should be right after public forum. Thank you for calling me out on that, Senator Perez. We all make mistakes. At this time, any members of the public who wish to address the board on any matter they so choose.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia and I am here today to challenge the decision to make laptoping legal. See, I find it funny that we send a campus-wide survey to whether or not HEAT should continue or become a 2-day event, but we didn't at all ask student body whether or not laptoping is okay. For one, also, I've noticed that you did a standing vote, which has been used in very serious situations historically, such as, I know last year there was something to do with Armenian genocide.
No, let the member of the public still has the floor.
Okay, and I've heard things that it's too hard to enforce, but that is our job here at ASUCR. We are a governing body, and we can either accept the things that we can't change, or we can change the things we can't accept. So I don't believe that it's too hard to enforce. And I've also heard that every UC has it, so should we. But every UC also has food and housing insecurity. Every UC also has mental health problems. Just because every UC has it doesn't make it okay, and I don't think that's enough justification. So respectfully, I would like to ask for a revote after a student survey is conducted to see if there is student interest in continuing laptoping or not. Just to gauge student interest and engagement and see whether or not the students actually agree with this. So thank you.
Thank you. To clarify first, the standing vote actually wasn't on the issue of the elections procedures or any specific laptoping. It was on the resolution in support of upholding due process, justice, and separation of powers in the ASUCR.
Okay, that was somewhere where I was mistaken, and I apologize.
No worries. Are there any questions for the member of the public? Any comments from this board? We will start with Senator. Well, we'll start with Senator Tatley, Senator David, Senator Willis, Senator Thielhart, and we'll end with the elections director because it was her item. Oh, and then sorry. the vice president before election recommended voting for election right I believe Senator Alex first.
Yeah.
You have the floor.
Okay, so I do believe that if students, you know students who actually want to vote on this and would like to bring it back up, I think it'd be fair to send out a survey. My only concern is that elections is coming up and this is very, very close to everything, and we don't want to proceed like last year's Senate did, where they're changing bylaws and changing elections code during elections. We want to be consistent in what we do, and so I think this is a very valid concern. My only concern is just the timing.
I can sympathize with that, especially because it is weeknight. However, I think something as important as this issue should not be pushed to the side only because of time.
Thank you. Next on the queue, Senator David. Senator Wills.
No.
Oh, Senator Theodore.
David.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Senator Wills.
Okay, so I have a few things. One, I don't think, well, yeah, just to be clear, I think it's disrespectful to compare laptoping to housing insecurity and mental health issues. Those are very, very, very serious issues that people address, and to compare those with laptoping for elections, I don't think is right. So that's just off top. And second, in terms of the laptoping overall in general, I hold by what I said during meeting, and I'll say that again, is that I think it's equally as disrespectful to the intelligence and the autonomy and the agency of students at UCR to claim that because someone has a laptop, they don't have the autonomy to say, no, I don't want to vote like this. Or to say, no, I think I want to read more about it. I know someone came up to me personally and was like, here, vote this way. I'd be like, well, I'm going to read more about it. I'll look into it. And I think to assume that students are just going to say like, oh, vote along with it, or that it somehow impedes their ability to like vote fairly, I think is tacitly calling students ignorant and saying that they're not smart enough to fact check on their own, to double check, to go back and verify whether or not they want to vote for this. And I don't think that the students at this university are ignorant. I think they're very intelligent, actually. And I think that they would be, in the same way that when people come up to them with paper ballots or with paper, I can't think right now. Yeah, with trying to get things put on the ballot. There are people out there like getting signatures. And the same way that students say no to that all the time and walk by them, I think the exact same thing can be done with laptoping. So yeah, if there's the legitimate, like if there's a chorus of students that really feel strongly about it, like I have no problem re-examining it. But just for me personally, like yeah, that was the reason that I did it. I think students are intelligent. I think that they know if they want to vote for something or if they don't, and if they don't, that they will not vote at that time. They'll get clarification or either get clarification right then and there, or they'll just say no and vote later, or they'll just not vote. And yeah, that's my take on it.
Thank you. Let's try and keep our comments a little shorter, please. Senator Theodore.
Yield to redundancy.
Senator Vice President Urban. No, I think. Time has expired on this item.
I'll move to extend time by 3 minutes.
By 3 minutes for speaker. Second by Senator Theodore. Any objections? Seeing none. And then again, sorry to go back a little bit. Senator Theodore, you.
Yield to redundancy.
Thank you. All right, it's Director Reyes.
All right, in regards to this, that's been a discussion that's been ongoing. This is actually currently my third year being involved in elections. In the last 2 years, I was on the Judicial Council attempting to adjudicate on that topic. I will say it explicitly now, there is sabotage in many forms, and one of the most prevalent ways that that was attempted to be accomplished was by the framing of that topic. And so, due to the requirement that it must be the individual that has to come forward and explicitly state that they have laptoping, or to provide documented evidence of such, which was not being provided, and there was evidence of sabotage occurring, in addition to every other UC, yes, allowing laptoping and not having the functional issues that we are creating for ourselves by prohibiting laptoping. Those are all factors into the removal of laptoping and the prohibition against it, in addition to the fact that I've already presented to the Judicial Council and to multiple other parties that my elections committee will be doing a campaign informing the students of exactly what laptoping is, giving them further information to exercise their autonomy in their voting, and make sure that while, yes, laptoping is acceptable at this point, it is frowned upon. And so there have been counter steps taken in order to address the issue. And that's all I can say on it.
And Vice President Urban, last call.
Most of my points were addressed already by Corey and Melina. I'll just say, Julia, I hope you don't feel like personally attacked on this. I actually don't think that these arguments originated from you. So I hope that you don't feel like personal about any of this, but thanks for bringing this to our attention.
Okay. Is there anything else? Saying none, thank you again for your time, Jerry. Next call for public forum. First one to get to
All right, well, first, thanks for bringing up the whole election thing. I'm
would
gonna
you
start this off with Ryan.
Would you mind? My
Let's start with
assistant
Ryan.
secretary left.
Can I at least do my Ryan?
That boy's bitch.
You can say your name, but would you mind saying your name real quickly and say it slowly because
Well,
he's
I mean, most of you already know me by
It's
now.
for the first 8 minutes, you have to state your name.
Okay, fine. My name is Casey.
Luis. Thank you.
All right. Elections are not here. Elections not there, but they'll eventually be here everywhere. Okay, aside the whole upcoming elections, aside from the Super Tuesday yesterday, and aside from the terrible rhyme, I'd like to say happy Dr. Seuss Day before I run out of time. Yes, that was another rhyme. Okay, and second thing, well, I would say this on Friday, but I wanted to say today, and I would like to give appreciation to Stephen Aloso Jackson. And I mean, I've known he's done a lot of great things over the past, and although I've never met him personally, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's done a lot of great things. I just hope his soldiers can appreciate what it can be. I hope he's proud of his soldiers of what he's going to do for the elections next quarter. And third thing, well, sorry, I forgot my third thing. It's because as I was getting here, somebody stole my idea, so I just hope I can get it back.
Thank you. Any questions or rhymes for the member of the public? Thank you. Seeing none, next call for public forum.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sergio Robles. I'm a second year political science student here at ASUCR. And I want to make a comment and also pose a question regarding laptoping. I understand that last year, laptoping was probably the largest issue regarding elections. And it's also my understanding that the Senate voted unanimously, was it last week, or to legalize laptoping and let that be okay. And I'm a little disappointed that that was the decision. I think laptoping, folks, it comes down to our morals. I know other schools do it. You mentioned UCR was a pioneer in a different aspect with the whole GCAP thing. We were a pioneer in laptoping until last year in this decision, you know. I think that this decision, instead of actually really tackling the issues and dealing with this in a just way, we gave in and we let ourselves legalize laptoping. You know, I don't think people, although they have their autonomy, they're intelligent, they know what they're doing, should not be coerced into voting right then and there when they maybe don't even have the facts. And that's not practiced on a national scale in presidential elections. You don't have people going to your house and asking for your vote. And we shouldn't be doing that here at a university that serves as a model to what we should be doing in the outside world when we're older. So if I could ask as well, I'd just like to know, what was the reasoning behind this Senate voting unanimously to allow laptoping and take away the justice that students have?
Thank you. We'll open up to the board. Try not to have any redundant comments, please. Anyone who wants to pick a cue, please say so now. We'll start with Senator Willis, Senator David, Senator Jackson, and end with Senator Sunda. Okay, Senator Willis.
Okay, so yeah, for redundancy, I'm assuming you heard the comments before when Julie brought it up, so that was a lot of my rationale, but I guess, well, yeah, that was the primary of it, but also I don't understand, people have been talking a lot about morality, and I don't understand the moral hazard of laptoping, so maybe if I could ask you, like, where morality comes into play.
I think the morality really is, Senator Willis, the fact that you can go there with your laptop and you can really encourage somebody to vote for you right then and there. I think, you know, people do have that autonomy you spoke of, but a lot of students, let's face the facts, don't get too caught up in elections. And if somebody comes up to them in a very simple manner and asks them to vote for them, a lot of times I think they will do so right away, whether it be a friend, maybe be a a stranger,
Sorry,
just
to
because.
direct my question, like morality specifically, yeah. What
All
is
right, let's clarify this a couple of things real quick. I'm gonna go through the queue, and you can ask whatever questions you clarify. I think Sergio, right?
Yes.
Would you mind replying to all the questions at the very end?
Okay.
I believe the question again.
So yeah, basically my primary question was the relationship of morality to laptop.
Thank you.
Morality, just morality.
Senator David. Senator Jackson.
Mine was more a response to his question.
Anytime.
The question that you were asking is why we decided to allow laptoping. It was something that Lena just stated earlier, that there were a lot of cases that were put in against different parties that ran last year of what was supposedly considered laptoping, when in actuality a lot of it, like, on some cases it wasn't, it was framing in a sense. So that's personally why I decided to vote the way I voted. I can't speak to the reasons why everyone else voted the way they did.
May I respond now, or do I wait?
Wait to the very end. Okay. Yeah. If you want, you can let right now. That's what we usually do. Senator Sungha.
I wasn't here at that meeting that they voted on it, so I apologize for that, because I'm more towards what you're saying right now, so I do apologize that I was not able to attend that meeting, but that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
And Director Reyes.
I would just like to add that sabotage does not encourage democracy. It does not encourage integrity in student representatives that are being presented forward. And it does not help the spirit of elections. And that, to me, vastly outweighed. Speaking of morality, sabotage is far, far worse in my book than going up to someone and asking them to vote for you holding a laptop. And that was the basis of my main decision, is that people were being attacked, potentially getting disqualified for actions that they did not commit, and that disturbs me. And that impairs the democratic process here at UCR.
Thank you, and I agree with you that that type of sabotage should not be something that's welcomed here on campus. That did stem from the fact of, laptoping. I think it's just immoral. Going back to Corey, I don't think it should just be something that we're allowed to do, where we can go up to somebody and encourage them to vote right then and there. And I know that this sabotage did stem from laptoping, but making it legal doesn't solve the issue, I think. Things are still going to happen. So I just would have hoped that the Senate would have considered that when they made their vote. That became unanimous. Thank you.
We've been doing this in 2 rounds, so there's some more people in the queue. Did you answer? Yeah. We'll answer the original round of questions, and we'll open up to Senator Theohart and then Senator David, because they wish to get back in the queue. But on that note, this speaker is right out of time. Anyone wish to extend?
I move to extend this discussion by 8 minutes.
There's a motion to extend time by 8 minutes. Is there a second? Second by Senator Willis. Is there any objections to extending time by 8 minutes? Seeing none. Your floor, then Senator Theohart, then Senator David last time. And on this note, I will close the queue. Sergio.
Okay, well, I'd like to use the floor to answer any more questions anybody would like to pose.
I never got my question answered.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's not the answer you want, but I think really, it's not a serious issue as in the realm as, food insecurity, housing insecurity, mental wellness. It's not as serious as that, but it's also, it's still a moral that we need to hold up in the elections. All the different universities have made it legal, but we didn't. And I think not having it legal and being different, we stood for something when we had that. I do think, sabotage is a moral issue, but we need to deal with both issues. The sabotage, but also laptoping that should not be allowed. Because let's face it, we have polling places so people can go and vote. Does that make sense? That's, I think, where the morality is coming from.
No.
That doesn't make sense. I don't have another answer for you. I'm sorry about that.
No, yeah, I just wanted to clarify. I still don't. I want to address the concern, but I can't address it immoral.
Before we run a little bit, point of clarification, we actually did away with polling places primarily only. In terms of online voting was well polling places, I believe, last 2-3 weeks ago. Moving on to next on the queue, Senator. That was Senator Steelhart.
What I want to point out is that last year also a lot of the issues that came with laptoping had to do with volunteers, which would mean applying the elections code to people that were never introduced and taught the elections code. And while you might argue that's the responsibility of the party that they're volunteering for, there's nothing stopping someone from automatically just deciding they support a party without ever formally going and meeting with that party, which does stem through that whole sabotaging thing, because you can encourage your friends to try and go and sabotage another party. So I think an issue with laptoping, and just an issue with our elections in general here, is the fact that the entire student body is able to participate, and not the entire student body is aware of the elections code, so it's easy for people that aren't part of it to flagrantly violate the elections code and not have it applied to them, because ultimately the only one that can be punished by the elections code are the people that are running, so the only people with a vested stake in actually abiding by the elections code are those that are running. I'm not sure that we as the ASUCR have the authority to be able to punish students that are not involved with the ASUCR.
Thank you. Let's move on next on queue. It's Senator Davis.
So when this conversation was going on in the office, elections director Malia was very open to suggestions about how to regulate laptoping. And so I guess my proposed question to you is, I'm wondering how you think we as an office could have regulated it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a really great question. I don't have a concrete answer for you.
Sergio, we have one more queue. Would you mind answering her?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you. Sorry. Senator Sung, are you sure? All right, then, well, you.
Thank you.
And then closing comments as well.
I don't have a concrete answer for that. This is something as a concerned student I've been trying to follow. I can't always really, make it to Senate meetings. I'm a little busy, but I think, that it needs to be something that we address. This was a huge issue, and I think to just close it up by voting unanimously was not the right way to do it. I think there still needed to be a longer vetting process where students were brought in, a survey maybe would have been sent out, and to get some more student opinion, because really when it comes down to it, the students are the ones being affected by this. So that's what I think could have taken place. And if it did, and I'm not aware of it, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I would like to call public comment. Sorry, public comment. Public comment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Avila. I'm from the Highlander. I'm assistant over there. I've been a contributing writer since 2013, and I was promoted this past school year. The staff was reshuffled this year, and we have quite a different team in comparison to last year. This will happen again when most of us graduate at the end of next quarter. Great segue into what I'm talking about. I'm not here to talk about the controversy because I wasn't involved in it. I'm not here to refute the resolution that was passed last week, but I'm here for one thing, and that's to further open communication between both our offices and your offices, which are both governed by students. When you all voted unanimously for the resolution last week, one of the stipulations was a request for corrections. But since last Wednesday, no one from the ASUCR Senate has contacted our offices to speak about this matter. And as someone who is on a team that sits in on all of these meetings and spends hours going over audio and writing articles, I thought it only logical to initiate an open invitation to anyone who would like to discuss these corrections in detail and at a more convenient date. Despite what some social media posts have explicitly stated at the Highlander, we strive to operate with accuracy and integrity. That's probably the hardest part of the job. And it's a part that all of us take seriously, especially amongst drawn out, controversial and disputed topics. But we can't accurately reflect both sides if there's no communication between our offices. Critical and internal conversations about our reporting have been had, and per usual, we take seriously to bettering ourselves as journalists, including how we can hold you guys accountable, which is what news is about, delivering narratives, disseminating knowledge, and also making sure that decisions that our student leaders make are justified. Our opinions editors who compose the editorial from our opinions and check and double check various resources are some of the strongest writers that the Highlander has. So integrity and accuracy is not something that we take lightly. I also understand the value of community. You guys can't do your jobs without us and vice versa. As students, I think we need more recognition that we're all struggling as a group. Because one thing that makes school not completely suck is the realization that I'm struggling just as hard as the next student here. I think division is pointless at UCR because it only serves to perpetuate structures in our society that actively work against us. But I know your names and I know your faces, but I'm in no place to judge your character. Only what actions you make for the sake of holding you all accountable. However, seeing that you're all involved in politics, I can assume that you guys want change, and that's probably our common ground here. Just to close out, I'd like to invite any members of the ASUCR who wish to meet with us and speak about corrections or anything regarding our reporting. So far this year, ASUCR members who have reached out to us are in direct communication with us. It's been mostly amicable. I hope to continue this and exhaust any and all lines of communication between our student-run organizations before something like this happens again.
Thank you. To clarify, the resolution you mentioned earlier, that was the due process, justice, and resolution? Okay, thank you. Any questions for the ex-officio member? Seeing nothing? Yes, Senator David, Senator Burra, any last questions from this point? He's ex-officio member at this point. And then Director, yes. Director Reyes, and then we'll hear the member, the ex-officio member. Senator David.
Has to be a question.
It can be whatever you want to say.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you for coming in, and I'm sorry that no one came to you. I also want to apologize if there was like any offense taken when that wasn't like the intent of Senate. So that wasn't the intent of the resolution. I'll be sure to come to your office.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pereira.
I just want to say congratulations on your promotion. Taking a handout for us.
Thank you.
And Senator Reyes? Oh, sorry, Director Reyes.
Thank you for coming in and extending this invitation. I certainly hope that the communication lines do stay open and that they do come from both directions, obviously with us approaching Highlander, but also the Highlander asking the relevant questions when there are articles that are going to be written about or things that need clarification that you can approach any member of ASUCR and make sure that you get the answers and the information that you need.
Do I mean, yeah.
Thank you. And then ex-officio member, what's his name?
Joseph.
No.
Caduce. Yeah, sorry. I was just wondering, like, maybe possibly, like, sorry, I was just wondering, like, maybe we can, like, make a task force or, like, a coalition group to, like, discuss maybe, like, Highlander and ASUCR, like, working together on stuff. And also, I think, like, just for, like, the Senate as well, we should probably make ex-officios more knowledgeable of, like, what they can do in terms of, like, making motions and, like, having say in discussions, because I know the Highlander also has an ex-officio. And so, in terms of talking to, like, senators and other officials, they can ask during the Senate meetings, and this way so it's publicized to the galley and the students, but it's also able for the Highlander to, like, get accurate quotes, so it makes it accessible for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. My EIC is also going to come up.
Yes. Hopefully we'll see you soon. I'd like to echo the Senator David's comments. Thank you again for reaching out to us.
Thank you.
Yes. Next call for public forum.
Hello, senators, directors. My name is Dan Robles. I'm a fourth year mechanical engineering major at BC in the College of Engineering. And I'd like to make some comments on some issues. I don't emerge much from the labs in engineering to make these meetings, but I've had some free time this quarter. So I'd like to make 3 comments on issues that I've read throughout the newspaper and through the academic year. The first, I know that the party which President Ashley Rana ran on last year, one of their platform proposals was to develop a bike share program. I was wondering if there is an available update for that. The second is a, the second, oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
He's behind you.
Yes. The second is a proposal for the senators of the College of Engineering. Currently, the BCOE will be undergoing a renovation, which will be implementing further research labs on the B wing. What this means is that the current study rooms, community rooms that are dedicated towards engineers will be cut and research labs will be implemented. Of course, the incoming research labs will greatly benefit the research done at our university, but this will be done at the cost of community rooms for our engineers. I know last quarter, the senior engineering, mechanical engineering class started a petition to sort of let the chair of mechanical engineering know this is a decision that's pretty much going to decimate the community within BCOE, but not much support is generated. The dean of BCOE has started by giving students the option to transition towards reserving rooms in Rivera. Most universities can agree that the major of engineering is quite difficult, that's why there are even community rooms for the students to study in. So I would appreciate maybe if at one point we can schedule a meeting where we could sort of talk about this, because I think this is something ASUCR should.
We're a student representative here for all students, and lucky enough we do have a BCOE center here.
Great, so maybe at the end, I have one more comment, maybe I could hear her opinion on this. Now, the third comment is just, I'd like to share my perspective on something that I read on the Highlander, the specific quote is, this is with respect to the censures from last year. It reads that, while reports surrounding the events of the spring 2015 elections have attempted to cover both sides of the story, such coverage contained misrepresentations of facts, objective assertions, and misinformation. And then it also says, in addition, the student government requests corrective measures on misrepresented facts to keep the student body informed, respecting the values of freedom of press while upholding the need for unbiased discrimination of objective facts. Now, I believe that the Highlander wrote numerous articles on this, what was basically our version of Watergate. To me, what I would just like to comment with, the average student thinks when they read this is that you guys are trying to cover for the individuals who were censured last year. If I was applying for a job, I would not want my employer to find all that was written about me corresponding to a censure in a Google search. So this literally looks like we're back in 1970 and you guys are trying to hide the tapes. So I just want to give you guys what the opinion is from a student's point of view. I know you guys are all aware of the issue, but the average student, I can assure that's what they think when they read this issue.
Your opinion is well taken, thank you. We take all concerns about the students very seriously. Let's open up the queue. We will start with Senator Willis. Anyone else? Senator Sunga. And we will end with Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs. Yes. Senator Willis.
Alright, so yeah, thank you for your comments. So just in order, for the bike share, our Vice President of Internal Affairs has lots of updates. That's why we laughed, just because he's so excited to talk about it. So yeah, that's coming soon. For the study spaces, and maybe Senator Song can talk more about this, I've actually spoken, one of my housemates, he's a mechanical engineer, and he actually talked literally exactly about this. So I'm not in engineering safe, but generally on campus, space has been an issue, trying to find spaces for administrative offices, for like the card office got moved to over by Getaway, so just everyone is having trouble with space, but I would definitely be down to like set up a meeting or be a part of a meeting to help find space or to help do something like that. So if you want to, you can contact the chair for my information, or I can talk to you after the meeting. I'd be happy to help try to find spaces. I know you all do projects too, so you need actual like space. And then just for the last comment, for covering it up, so this was actually, this stemmed, I guess, originally this year from Judicial Council actually overturned a lot of the decisions that were made last year, and so the call for corrections were to update that to reflect the fact. So in terms of people covering themselves, it was Judicial actually overturned the censure along with some of the other decisions that had happened last year. And yeah, the call for correction is just, and the previous person mentioned that, I don't know if he's still here, Joseph. Yeah, he talked about that too, that no one got in contact with them. But yeah, it's just updating. The Highlanders sort of last year posted a lot of things, and like you said, as a student reading this, they posted them as fact when they were in fact disputed, and a lot of those disputed facts, as we mentioned, were actually, they turned out to be overturned. So yeah, that's all I think about.
Thank you. Senator Sunga, your floor.
Just want to say that we will definitely be in contact with you, me and Ryan.
Vice President.
Gang, right? you're president of the UCR cycling.
That's right.
That's right. I sent you an email at the beginning of the year hoping to meet up, actually, in regards to the bike share. I'm wondering if you're free to meet. Please stick around for my report as I give an update. I'm actually really excited for, and I mean, it's not, I don't want to like hype it too much. There are still steps to go through. In your second point, I'm really glad that these new senators are stepping up to be able to assist with this. I think it'll be really fruitful communication. And on the third one, I didn't really want to address this directly, considering I'm actually one of the affected parties, so I'm just going to put that honestly out there. Like, this is just going to come from me. And like the comparisons to Watergate, you're not going to be the first one to say this. I even joked around. Everyone's joked around on like that kind of comparison. I agree that not a lot of average students heard about this and actually got a lot of their facts from the Highlander. And it's made clear in the resolution, this is an attempt to try to like tear down or to insult or to undermine the abilities of the Highlander to process news. It's just an understanding that the facts as they were presented were actually disputed and were actually presented in a way that was very one-sided. And I want to say that it came to Senate at very last in terms of overturning or clarifying any actions. It wasn't just the Judicial Council that ruled on this. For instance, UCR's own attorney also did a third-party review when this reached like a crescendo. We hired a third-party parliamentarian who works in downtown Riverside, who actually used to be a part of AS like 10 years ago, who's now a parliamentarian and an attorney. He went through all of the documents, reached the exact same conclusion. This is not just Senate making like a unilateral decision on like events that just happened to us, and now we're trying to be like, oh, let's just correct the record. This is really putting history in its rightful place. And I'm saying this emphatically only because this is a conversation I don't want to have to keep revisiting every time it gets reprinted in the Highlander. I'd really honestly like to put this matter to rest, and that was the honest intention of the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make one last?
One last comment, you have time.
So there won't be an update to the bike share program until you meet with me.
No, this one will be one right now. I mean, as soon as I use my report, it's later on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, well, that about does it for me.
Okay, sorry, I think I missed Senator Talley.
So Michael and I today met with John White and Uma from Capital Planning, and one of the things that they did show on their master plan, because they're working on a master plan for UCR, is that they're possibly looking at a engineering research building. So it's called the Future Engineering Building, and it will be by a multidisciplinary building, and that will be by MSC. So that's something that they're working on right now. That's more long term. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, your time, I promise.
I'm by time. Thank you.
Thank you again for your time. Any last call for public forum? Sorry.
About that. I just want to echo the previous member of the gallery's concern, because I feel like y'all didn't really answer his question about morality. I know Willis, you try to say, or try to say, you know what, in terms of morality, you know, I think there's a question of possible intimidation. This is something that's, you know, used in our elections and nationally. You know, there's no electioneering within 100 feet of, you know, polling places. I feel like if people are laptoping, the people that are actually doing the laptoping, they can intimidate. They can pressure first years that are a couple more impressionable. They're impressionable. They don't have the, you know, knowledge maybe of the way things work. And that's the reason why I think, you know, it's bad. It's bad to have laptoping. And in regards to saying, you know, that the reason it should be legal to avoid sabotage, that's like saying, like, let's make electioneering legal, so there won't be so it won't be bad, you know. Like I'd like some clarification in terms of what sabotage was and who can laptop, and don't you think that's intimidation? They can intimidate maybe.
I'll let the election director, since it's her comment, clarify on sabotage. As for laptoping, as of right now, I believe there's no mention of it in our elections code whatsoever, I believe. And then we'll open the queue after the election director. Does anyone else wish to be on the queue? Senator Willis and Senator David, Senator Jackson, and we'll close the queue at that. And Senator Talley, right? No. Yes. Director Wright, if I'm mistaken.
Would you state your question again?
The question is, what what was your interpretation of sabotage? And if that was the reasoning behind making it legal, what was it? Why did it move the Senate to vote to make it legal?
At this point, given the multiple comments that I've given over the night, I feel like I'm being redundant. I've posited a lot of my arguments a couple times. Ultimately, it comes down to the enforcement of this and the attempts to discern between what was sabotage and what was not, without sufficient evidence, without people coming forward, with the possibility of volunteers or really anyone being able to jump on and attempt to laptop people and pose these strikes against families or individuals that did not deserve these kind of reprehensible punitive actions. It ultimately came down to me after trying to discuss with multiple people in the office, talking with pro staff, talking to multiple students. There was literally no other further steps that I could imagine taking that could effectively address both sabotage and laptopping in an effective manner without making people pay for things that they shouldn't need to. And so ultimately that's where it came down to. I'm not so happy with it, but laptopping is legal, and that's where myself and my committee is taking action in making sure that we can make students as aware as possible of what laptopping is and make it very clear that they can say no. And making sure that they understand that this is a coercive action. Every candidate that comes through and needs to drop off a packet has to attend a meeting. And I do make it, and I have made it clear that while laptopping is available, and I've also made this clear to the Judicial Council, we're going to be taking action to make sure that, yes, they can do it, but it's not going to look well on them. And so I'm literally, that's the whole thing. This is my third year being involved. I have racked my brain. I have agonized over this. This is the culmination of months of conversations and testing the waters. This is not something that was taken on lightly. And it's ultimately trying to take the lesser of two evils, which is not to punish people that don't deserve it.
Can I respond to that?
Do we have a Q-tier?
I want to give my
Okay, so so what I'm understanding is the issue was, like enforcing the rules of like how you what was it? How you report this. You said yourself that it looks bad on us. It looks bad on us, but yet, and rather than just making it illegal across the board, you said the lesser of two evils. That's the worst of the two evils, to make it legal. Instead you could have just made it not a possibility. That it couldn't have been done.
You think disqualifying people for actions of others that they cannot control is the lesser of two evils?
I think.
Because that's ultimately what it came down to. That people were being put at risk for disqualification and having their name slandered for sabotage.
I think maybe no, I just can't even answer.
Alright,
I
before we
can't even
get
answer
into
that.
back and forth.
You have pointed that, but I just think there should be more of an investigation. It's a shame that it was illegal and it happened, and we're just saying it's sabotage. It's a shame that it's like it's a where am I using? I'm trying to use it. It happened. It was illegal.
Alright. Let's keep moving, and then after we go to Q3, Senator Willis, Senator David, and Senator Jackson. Is there anyone I missed? Seeing none, I'll ask if there are any questions. Would you mind answering at the very end? Senator Willis.
Okay, so yeah, just I guess to go off, I'll just give you an example of the reason that's so hard to. So.
And to clarify, please, would you mind trying to take a minute?
Okay. Okay. I say you were laptopping. I go in and file a report. There's absolutely zero way of verifying that you were or weren't. You're not going to get a picture of someone right as they do it. So if that's what she's talking about with sabotage, it just becomes she said, where it's like, he was laptopping. No, I wasn't laptopping. Well, I saw this person laptopping. And then someone from another party comes and says, oh, I saw them laptopping too. And now that's what she's talking about, that now you can't run anymore. You never laptopped in your life. You were doing everything up and up. But because someone filed an accusation against you and there's no way of verifying it, there's no way of proving it, and if they have someone else come and do it, like, if they have someone else to come and corroborate that story, then you're guilty even though you didn't do anything. So that's in terms of sabotage, and like the fake reports is really the difficult thing to regulate. And then just real quick, she mentioned education, so telling people what laptopping is. So you mentioned specifically like first years, they might not know. So if there's a very robust campaign, and I absolutely believe Melina and the committee could do that, we're showing this is laptopping. If someone comes up to you and says like this, like you are not obligated to know, they tell you that. So they would know that, no, they have the right to say no, or to look at other parties or learn more about that just by being educated on what laptopping is and what it means. And then lastly, the reason that I always mention other schools, and I mention UCSD specifically a lot, is because for the time that they allowed laptopping, they had a lower voter turnout than when we banned laptopping. So the argument of coercion, I think, is pretty faulty there, and that if that was true, they would have enormous voter turnout because so many people would be coerced to vote. With laptopping, that would be like astronomical, and it's not. They have a lower percentage than we had without it, just because we have people here who run who are, I guess, just more tenacious about it. Whereas even with laptopping and with that getting put in their face, voters were still saying no. So, I mean, yeah, that's, I'm trying to keep it under a minute, that's pretty much.
Appreciate it.
I guess a suggestion, I mean, yeah, I take this, the comments.
Would you mind, again, sorry, just for this time, if I'm answering at the very end?
Okay.
I appreciate it, thank you. Senator David.
Just like I said to, I think Joseph, I don't know. But I encourage you and all of the galley to either email Melina directly, or you can even email me about like suggestions as solutions, effective solutions.
Thank you. Senator Jackson.
Yield my time.
Okay, so a suggestion, rather than punish the person being accused of trying to, intimidate or get coerce votes, punish that actual individual doing the laptopping. I just don't see why it's being allowed. Punish the person that has a laptop in hand. Do something.
Before we get into debate, and we're not doing that over here, we have just some concerns. Last closing comment, and then we'll move forward. If there's anything else we can talk about this outside the meeting, you're more than welcome to talk to us. Your time. I appreciate your comments, taking them all into consideration. Thank you. Next call for public forum.
Hi, my name is Matthew Wiles. I'm a second year in chess. I'm not going to talk about laptopping. I'm going to talk about something else. I saw on the agenda tonight there are amendments to, I believe it's, I don't know, it's chapter 20 or section 20, I don't have it in front of me, which is compelling, thank you. Okay, chapter 29, or chapter 20 of the bylaws. Thank you very much. Compelling senators to, I guess, table as part of the outreach. I know it's already written in the bylaws that they're supposed to be doing outreach events, and ASUCR is supposed to be tabling. Personally, I am here to ask you to vote in favor of compelling senators to table, because I believe that it is an effective way for you to communicate with your constituents. Personally, I am a Senate intern, so I'm in the office a great deal, and I recognize some of you, and I've talked to a lot of you, but there are some senators who I honestly have I've never seen before. And I know you host office hours, but the thing is that I have a concern that that is not accessible to the majority of students. And tonight we've had some issues come up where things like laptopping. There's talk of sending out a survey. Why do we have to send out a survey for the senators to know how the students feel about something? I think that as elected officials, you should be having dialogues on a regular basis with the people that you are voting, you are voting and representing. And I also believe that, if there are concerns that tabling isn't effective, I think that there's bad tabling and there's good tabling, and I hope that that you would share my and the other undergraduate students' desire for transparency and availability to the students.
Thank you. Any questions for the member of the public? Comments? Senator Davis.
Thank you for bringing that up. I actually put some edits. This is the edits for today's discussion. So if anything, we're adding on 2 more outreach. So.
Yeah. I'm here to persuade you to vote for more.
Thank you. Last call for you on the board. Seeing none, Ken, thank you so much for your time. Next call for public forum.
Okay. Hi, you guys. My name is Crystal. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Highland newspaper, so I thought it was important that I be here. I just kind of want to echo some of the sentiments that Joseph expressed, and let you guys know that our office is always open. I'm always available. I think our opinions editor came by at another meeting and expressed what the letter to the editor was. And that you can definitely do that as well if there's anything in the paper that you don't think is right. I was an assistant on the staff last year, and this is my first year at DIC. And I know there was a lot of controversy in that our communication hasn't always been the best. That's why we had like a little meet and greet at the beginning of the year. Thank you guys for whoever came to that. And so I'd just like it to be more open, like right now I get a lot of ASUCR doesn't like you guys, and I'll see people send me Facebook posts, and we'll get cryptic messages sent to our page, and there's just not much I can do with that. I can do things about corrections. We do that for every section. We do it for news. So if there's something in an article that you see, you send that to me, what's wrong, what's right, and we'll print a correction in the very next issue of the paper. Like I said, it's something we do for all the sections. Letters to the editor is an option, but there's not anything about anything else, like people not responding emails, stuff like that. So that's what I would say. You guys can always come talk to me, email me. I'm always available to talk. I won't try to dodge you or anything. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. And like I said, that we do appreciate you reaching out to us. I'm assuming your comment goes on your website or Facebook page?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Any questions for the ex-officio member? Seeing none, thank you so much for your time. Next call for public forum. Last call for public forum. Last call for public forum. Name, please.
Hi, my name is Johnson Is. I'm not trying to push overturning the vote. I'm not trying to push keeping the vote. All I'm trying to say is that just regarding everyone coming, I think we should probably try and make a student vote. I kind of think just I guess check the temperature, or maybe as a youth to try, I don't know, just to try and get how the students feel about it, because we've seen the article and we've seen how many people came to open forum. I mean, with the meetings we've had, I haven't seen this many people in open forum. And so also I just want to say, sorry, I'm just gonna throw it all out there, and I'll take questions after. This way it's in terms of framing and sabotage, those it can be used on other issues, and so what's stopping those other issues. And then saying it's legal everywhere, just because it's legal in the other UCs, so's administration taking over AS, and we tried to fight that, and we took a stance of being that one UC. And just because, and just saying, just because you hope students are smart doesn't mean it should be allowed. I mean, we put a ban on smoking on campus, and then we still see those 3 guys vaping across. I just think that in terms of possible alternatives, we could have student voting, just so if it comes back, we can take it off ASUCR's hands and just be we've had a vote, students have voted, and that's what we came up with. We could, in terms of using it as a way to show students how to vote, we could have elections have voter education day, or something, just show people while we're tabling. and then also maybe like election referees, and for like when it's ASUCR elections, we could have grad students come in as like the referees to like watch, and then when it's GSA elections, we could have like undergrads come in and like watch. So this way it's not like, it's like an unbiased kind of thing, and this way it can capture people and there's no he said, I think she said, and it's not a hearsay problem. So yeah, that's it if anyone has questions.
Thank you so much for your comment. Any questions for the member of the public? Yes.
Oh, this isn't necessarily directly addressing.
Yeah.
Well, it's based on what you said, not directly addressing it, but just I guess generally, like, you know, my personal politics, I'm all about going to the people, and like I think that's good. But I mean, attendance at Senate meetings is not representative of 18,000 students, and I don't think we need to be doing surveys for every single thing. That would defeat the purpose of a Republican form of government. If you want to direct democracy, then maybe we can talk about changing the Constitution and that. But like being elected, also like we were elected to represent students, and so I have no issue with getting student input. If we're gonna send out a survey for every single time we want to do something or change something, we're not really gonna be able to get very much done. And like I said, that was us getting elected. The point was to represent the best interest of the students, and obviously a unanimous vote as well. I think it was pretty clear that was believed that was what was best. But again, yeah, if enough students come and say that they don't want to do that, then I have no problem changing it. But
Thank you. Last call for questions for the member of the public. Seeing none. Thank you for your time.
Oh, could I respond to the?
Yes.
Sorry. I just think that like, yes, I completely agree that it would. I think that you were elected officials and that it'd be a waste of like, it'd be a waste to like ask. But the thing is, regarding like just this topic, the amount of people that showed up, and from like last meeting to like this meeting, how many people came to like discuss this during open for the public forum, just like shows how like students want to get involved. And I just think like a way to like combat that would be better publicizing of like Senate meetings and better publicizing of the agenda, because yeah, it's on the website, but at the same time when we want to publicize our events, we put it on Facebook, we put it on this and that. So maybe like having weekly Facebook posts to say like, oh, here's our meeting, come, go, and this and that to get more student turnout. Also, do you mind if I address the galley? Is that allowed, or?
What do you want to do?
Like address the galley.
Do you want to do it on a different forum?
A public comment?
What do you need just Jelly for?
I just wanted to say something about laptoping.
Why don't you address the board, the chair, and I'm assuming the galley will listen.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say like, yeah, I just want to say for like everyone discussing laptoping, and if it's regarding last year's issue, if you look at the elections and you look at the votes and like how many people got certain votes, last year the laptoping wasn't like a major factor into getting all those votes, because I know like Senator Judicial won by 700 votes compared to the next alternate, and the next alternate was in another party. And so yes, it's an issue in terms of like taking people's votes or just like doing like different things, but it's also like a factor of it's not a substantial increase in votes, if that makes sense. And so yeah, that's just what I wanted to point out.
Thank you so much for your time. Last call for public forum.
Do I need to remember my name on this?
Yes, please.
Do I have a pen?
Right here.
Perfect. Appreciate
Saying out loud the purpose of the galley.
My official legal name is Toluwani Cole, but I go by Shami. I'm here to speak about the issue of tabling that was addressed earlier. I've been working with Senator Chow on that initiative, and honestly, I believe that like being a student in this community who's worked with a variety of different students, I honestly feel like at some points students feel a disconnect with ASUCR. Students don't even know where ASUCR is. Students don't even know what ASUCR is doing for them. And as students who are elected by these students to lead them, to serve them, and to act on their best regard, I feel like the tabling initiative, and when I talk about tabling, I'm talking about proactive tabling, not the tabling where we just sit behind and just chill in our seats. I'm talking about going out in the community and talking to students, you know, engaging them on the issues that they're working on, the issues that like they want to be addressed by their local student governments. They need to know our names, they need to know what we're doing, they need to know how they can get involved in ASUCR as a whole. And I feel like this tabling initiative is an awesome, powerful way for us to be on the front lines talking to students. Because honestly, that's the reason why we're here, to represent the students, to fight for them, to make sure their issues are being addressed. And at this point, I feel like there's too much of a disconnect. There's too much of a disconnect with students at UCR, and I feel like it is the job and the mission of student government and ASUCR as a whole to bridge the gap between students and student government. And I feel like this proactive tabling is a perfect initiative, a perfect way to actually make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the member of the public? Seeing none, I'd just like to say that I agree with you, Shamie. I think as a member, public representative, we should do everything we can to reach out and to bridge that gap between student leaders and students. Again, thank you so much for your time. Anyone from public? Last call, public forum. Seeing none, we'll move forward on the agenda. Yes. Next after public forum is LRC. LRC. Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna start while people are there's a lot to go through, so let's keep it going. So first is chapter 20, Senate outreach, which deals with what Shamie and some other people talked about, which is for outreach. Under section 1, section 2, subsection B, we just changed outreach to tabling, so specifically tabling. There's addition of section E, which reads, all senators will be assigned to an organization cluster by the personnel director. 2 senators will be assigned to each cluster. Organization cluster categories will be defined by student life. So this is something that we were working on for this year, which is that every senator is assigned to an organization cluster. So professional arts, action awareness, recreation, etc. So in terms of not only just out tabling like by the bell tower at 12, but also like directly reaching out to clubs and to organizational clusters. That's already something that we've been doing, so just codifying that in the bylaws. As well as F, senators will reach out to their respective organization cluster and serve as the organization liaison to the ASUCR. So connecting directly with like organization clubs, I've gone to club cluster meetings and all of that, so keeping them updated. As well as Senator Torreno is not here. Oh yeah, he's here. Added this section I, which is BCOE senators will participate in leadership of the BCOE community by attending the leadership council meeting weekly. So again, not just tabling and just sitting at the table, but also specifically for BCOE reaching out to these weekly leadership meetings so they can be updated on what's happening there and keep them updated on what we're working on. Under section 3, subsection B, we just changed it. It said Vice President of Internal Affairs, and I don't know why. So we changed it to a marketing director who will be responsible for keeping updated and accurate Senate outreach sign-up sheets. Senator must give notice to the EVP and the marketing director at least 1 week in advance to avoid an absence. And senators must find a replacement ASUCR representative to take place in their absence. So in the event that you can't do it, just letting our marketing director and the EVP know and getting someone else to take your place so we can still table effectively. And then, yeah, just the final change, D on that same section, just changing VPCIA to EVP. I move to approve the changes to chapter 20 of the bylaws.
There's a motion on the table to approve changes to chapter 20 of the bylaws, stated by Senator Tatley. Is there any discussion or debate on this item? Senator Sunga.
I believe that for the BCOE senators, we do have an LC training session that's every right before the school year, and that's where every officer from every club in BCOE go and have a training session, and they talk about funding and retaining members. So I feel like that one might be beneficial to attending. I attended that because I have been an officer in these clubs on campus, so I've been to that one. For the leadership council meetings each week, we normally send like your president or your vice president goes to talk to those. So I haven't personally been to any of those, but then our presidents come and speak to us about it. So I feel like I already hear it. So if there's like one can go, that'd be great. But
I mean, I don't know, Senator Cronenberg talk about this. I don't know anything about BCOE, so I defer this completely to you all. So whatever you think is best, like I'm fine with it.
I agree that it's good enough for just one person.
Okay.
And we can include the LC training session, that's once in September before school starts. I feel like that one would be really beneficial for the BCOE senators to attend. That's just where every single officer attends this training session that's in any BCOE club. And it goes to like tons of people, and I think that one would be really beneficial. I went to that one and they were like telling me all these different things that they want to hear.
And for Temple, I'm assuming you're making the changes now?
Oh yeah, we're doing so.
I guess it's going to be in section 2, subsection J, I think.
This is under, yeah, this will be under I. So, okay, so I changed it, at least one BCOE senator will participate. Do you want to get rid of the weekly requirement altogether, or just make it 1 in 10, and then include the beginning of the year meeting?
Because they do hold those weekly, but I'm not really sure what they talk about specifically. I feel like it's just like whatever events are coming up is usually what they talk about at these meetings. But the one in the beginning of the school year, I think that one would be really beneficial to add into it.
Okay, we can do, bi-weekly or, Senator Trent, I don't know if that would be fine. This is your addition, so, if you think weekly is necessary, we can keep it, or if you prefer it to be bi-weekly, so it has to be one senator. As well as, would you want to add, just real quick, a separate section for that, or just have that be included in this section? That they have to
I think it's a similar thing, so I don't know if you want, I'm not really sure how the whole bylaw things
Yeah,
work.
okay, we'll just do separate sections. And then,
A lot of the clubs meet bi-weekly anyway, right?
They do.
So it wouldn't make sense to go, it'd be better to just go bi-weekly.
Okay, so I'll update that. Okay, so the changes, I'll read. At least one BCOE senator will participate in the leadership of the BCOE community by attending leadership council meetings bi-weekly. And then, what do you want, Aaron, wording for the second one?
Both BCOE senators will participate in the LC training session. That usually before school starts.
We're still in office though, so it's applicable.
Yeah, but I was already a senator at that point.
I was trying to, you've already been looking for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, can you repeat that? Will be in the BCOE Leadership Council
Session that is held before school starts.
Yeah, I know there's. Okay.
And then for that, I only got emails for that because I was an officer at the time, along with the BCOE senator. So I think that would be something that we'd have to speak to June, who sends out all the emails, to make sure that the BCOE senators get these emails as well, because they won't get them since they're not officers, unless they are officers.
Okay. So yeah, I'll leave that to the BCOE senators to talk about, getting them listed. Alright, so just to read the updated changes, both elected BCOE senators will participate in the leadership council session held prior to the beginning of the academic school year. Good? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, there's original motion on the table proposing this chapter 20 amendment. There's another motion on the table. Yeah, to amend the amendment. Actually, there was a motion you might make.
Okay, so I move to amend the amendment. I move to amend the amendment to chapter 20 of the bylaws.
Second by Senator William Chow. The motion is to propose amendment to the amendment on the board to change section I of section 2 to biweekly and one BCOE center, and to add a section J on that same section to read, both elected BCOE senators will participate in the elected leadership council sessions held prior to the beginning of the academic year. Are there any debate or questions on this amendment to the amendment? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of amending the proposed amendment? Any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none, vote is unanimous. Moving on to the actual amendment. The motion is already on the floor. Is there any debate or discussion on the amendment? Perfected amendment. Seeing none, we'll get to a vote. All in favor of adopting the perfected amendment? Any opposed? Any abstain? Again, unanimous. And the Senate Chapter 20 shall be hereby adopted with those changes.
Point of personal privilege.
not echo. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to chapter 13 of the bylaws. This is dealing with LRC and the president pro tempore. It's just one.
Sorry, before we move on, probably a bit too late, just afterthought. But was there a section of repercussions if the senator weren't to follow these guidelines?
I don't believe there's one in here, but that would probably be at the discretion of the EVP, and we can add that later on if that's something you want to talk about. Okay. All right. So moving on, chapter 13. This is dealing with LRC and the president pro tempore. I've just made one change. So under section C, subsection B, the LC shall consist of, it was originally 8, changed it to 7 members of the Senate. 6 of these subcommittee members will be appointed by the president pro tempore upon consultation with the president EVP. The 7th subcommittee member will be the president pro tempore. So I just edited down 1 member for 2 reasons. A, with it being 8, the legislative review committee is supposed to be the committee that led to go through before it gets to the floor of the Senate. And with 8, half of the Senate has already seen it. So chances are if it passes through like 50% of the Senate, more than likely it will pass through the general floor. And then also there was no need really, chair votes usually tie break, and with 7 there would never be a tie. As well as I just noticed this quarter coordinating people's schedules can be difficult, so just 1 less person can make it maybe a little bit easier to have everyone there to make sure there will be a quorum. So yeah, this is the only change, just taking it from 8 to 7 people.
Thank you. President pro tempore, would you like to make a motion?
Sorry, point of clarification.
Yes.
The president pro tempore is still remaining a tie-breaking vote, right?
Well, this would make them a tiebreaker vote. As it is right now, there's 8 including the, or there's, yeah, there were 8 including the president pro tempore, so there would never have been a tie.
Right. Oh, I mean, just in the case that you do have one.
Yeah, that's why I only said there, so there is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, yes, well, you have the motion.
Okay, so I move to approve the changes to chapter 13 as well.
Second.
Second by Senator Winnie Chow, made originally by Senator Willis. Any discussion or debate on this item? Seeing none, I see you all ready to go.
Wait.
Yes.
I think it may be beneficial to decrease the numbers should you need a smaller amount, at least 5, at most 7.
We can do that. The only problem is that like 5 we would need to have everyone there pretty much to meet quorum, and yeah, I guess we could do a minimum like that, but I figured just taking it off 1, like this is still a good enough size to get a diversity of opinions as well. I didn't want there to be any groupthink or one single person might overdo it, so there's still enough here, just trimming it down a little bit. But we can play with this next quarter, and if it comes, we can clean it.
If you wanted to, you're more than welcome to make a motion, make notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. You're head, so, you know.
All right. There's a motion, there's a second. If there's any more debate or discussion, seeing none, move to a vote. All in favor of adopting the changes to chapter 13 of these bylaws? Any abstain, or any opposed? Seeing no opposed, any abstain? You didn't vote at all,
Oh,
Jackson.
sorry, I put my hand out for paper, sorry.
She abstained? Yeah. Or say you abstained?
Okay.
The vote is at 801, and a motion, on that note, the motion passes. Moving on to section 3, chapter 34.
Okay, so chapter 34 is the guidelines for dealing with the first-year fellowship program here. So there are actually a number of changes made, and we still will need to make changes to the specific executive offices to reflect this. But under section 2, logistics, part A, we changed it that at the beginning, the executive cabinet will choose up to 2. What? Is this what you're talking about, Casey?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't.
Sorry, we're having technical, just making sure this is the correct version. Actually, we can just vote this right there. Alright, we can do it.
I was told there are a number of changes that our copy didn't get.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going
A
to
significant amount of numbers.
see right now. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But yeah, I moved to table this just until we have clear exactly what changes are necessary. We're not getting any more fellows anyway, so it's not as if there's any rush for this. So
there's a motion on the table to table the action on chapter 34 of the bylaw. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Thielhart. Is there any objections to doing so? All right, seeing none. The item should be tabled. Moving on to chapter 39 of these bylaws. You have your Bible with you? Which one did you actually pull up chapter 39?
yeah, 39 is not in the book. our closet. Is it in the preview packet? Oh, you couldn't give it the okay.
Our
No,
closet.
no, no, yeah.
It's here.
It's like the last one.
This last one. Yeah, you just probably should make it closer.
Okay, here it is. Art Closet Committee. So this was done by Senator Vargas and Senator Chan. The old Art Closet bylaws were awful. Like they literally copy and pasted from the food pantry, and at one point it said food pantry in the bylaws for the Art Closet. So yeah, this is basically pretty much an entire rework just to make it applicable to the Art Closet. So purpose, the Art Closet Committee's mission is to help students and the Riverside community with their clothing needs in casual and academic environments for the students of the University of California, Riverside. By providing this type of clothing, the committee helps to empower students who cannot afford certain pieces of clothing due to financial constraint. The Art Closet Committee will strive to provide clothing and host campus-wide events, while also increasing awareness among the student body about the nature of homelessness and the lack of clothing resources worldwide. The Art Closet Committee will also strive to highlight the importance of body empowerment and inclusivity. Under Section 2, Power and Responsibilities, Part B, the committee will work in tandem with the ASUCR to find an appropriate and permanent space to house the clothing donated to Art Closet, and subsection A, the committee will also be charged with maintaining and expanding the storage space through events such as the annual Undie Run, 2 donation weeks, and an annual swap meet, while reaching out to campus partners to secure donations for professional clothing that can be checked out by UC Riverside students, as well as casual clothing that can be given to students in need. Under Part D, the Art Closet Committee shall be tasked with communicating with appropriate entities of campus to increase awareness on homelessness, the lack of clothing resources worldwide, body empowerment, and the importance of inclusivity. Section 3, titled Membership. The Art Closet Committee shall consist of at least 10 members as follows: 2 ASUCR senators, 1 representative from each of the following ASUCR offices. The Office of the President was added, as well as Marketing was already present. 2 members appointed by the Diversity Council from Ethnic Agenda Programs. 4 members from the UCR community at large, appointed by the ASUCR Personnel Director. Section B, the process for appointing representatives to the committee shall be as follows. The appointment of the chair shall be made within the first 2 weeks of the fall quarter in agreement of the committee. The committee shall be selected within the first 2 weeks of fall quarter. The committee will then be responsible for filling in the officer positions by the 2nd week of the academic year. The ASUCR president shall appoint 1 representative from their respective office upon being contacted by the ASUCR personnel director at the beginning of each fall quarter of every academic year. These appointments shall be made within 2 weeks of contact by the personnel director. Section 4 for officers. The committee shall have 3 officers: a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and an outreach coordinator. The chairperson shall be in charge of coordinating all meetings of the committee, create agendas for each meeting, preside over meetings to ensure that the agenda is being followed and the conversation remains orderly. The chairperson shall not act as a voting member unless there is a tie amongst the members of the committee, and report all actions of the committee to the ASUCR Senate. The vice chairperson and their duties shall also be governed by the following provisions. They shall be in charge of acting as chairperson in the absence of the chairperson. The vice chairperson shall be a voting member, except when acting as the chairperson in the absence of the chairperson, in which case they shall only vote in the case of a tie as the chairperson normally would. Helping the chairperson with their duties as needed, will be responsible for contacting and remaining in correspondence with potential and current sponsors for Art Closet, responsible for taking minutes of each Art Closet meeting, and posting minutes as well as additional information on the ASUCR website. I'm going to actually strike this section because it's one of our pro staff is in charge of handling all additions to the website. So I'm going to strike out the rest of section B. The outreach coordinator shall be in charge of staying in contact with organizations and communities that are relevant to Art Closet and its mission to benefit students in need, ensuring that events such as the Undie Run and Donation Week occur at least once a year, and hosting events along with other student organizations and alumni. So those are all the changes. So that I move to approve the changes to Chapter 39 of the Bylaw.
All right, there's motion by Senator Willis and a second by Senator Tatley to approve the changes to the Art Closet Bylaws, Chapter 39. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on this item? Very good debate. Seeing none, we'll move on to this to a vote. All in favor?
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Any opposed? Any abstain? The vote is 801, and the amendment passes. Next item on the agenda is Chapter 41 of these bylaws. Thank you.
Okay, I'll find it. Okay, so this actually be 43. But yeah, so this is
Which one's 41?
41 of the violence sexual violation.
Oh, we're just strike that.
Yeah.
But I need a motion to strike that.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Oh, 40. Oh, okay, sorry. I misread. Okay, so this was a recommendation that wasn't on the ballot before, or wasn't there, was not made before just because it wasn't on the agenda. So I'd like to move to strike Chapter 41 of the bylaw clause. This was the LRC recommendation due to redundancy, since we already have the Associated Students Chancellor's Committee on Sexual Violence and Sexual Harassment. The second committee was literally the same thing and it never even met, so this is just to formally strike it from the bylaws.
Wait, didn't we do this last week?
It was tabled.
Because it wasn't on the agenda, so just to make it formal.
There's a motion and a second to strike Chapter 41 of the bylaws entirely.
There's no second.
Oh,
Second.
second by Senator Wyniechowski. Thank you for that. There's this motion, there's a second, so any debate or discussion? Seeing none, it moves to a vote. All in favor of striking Chapter 41 of the bylaws? Any opposed? Any abstain? So I'm going to assume it was all in favor, and let me know it was unanimous. The bylaws were struck. Moving on to Chapter 43.
Thank you. Now, so Chapter 43 was originally the mental health, excuse me, the mental health committee. So I don't remember who worked on this, but yeah, Nevin, Senator Pereira, and Senator Chow worked on reworking this for the Health and Wellness Committee, so to make it a little bit more holistic, not just mental health, but covering health and wellness more generally. So we're through the purpose, just changing the title to Health and Wellness. The Health and Wellness Committee shall be a liaison between the student body, the Student Health Advisory Committee, and the Administration of Health Services. So again, under Part B is changing the name, updating it to Health and Wellness. Through the powers and responsibilities, I don't want to read all of them individually, but for it's again changing Health and Wellness, but then also expanding the purview of the committee. So in any health-related policy, not just limiting it to mental health. We're changing the mental and physical health and wellness. All health services, including physical and wellness again. Under Part D here, be responsible for developing comprehensive campus-wide approaches to suicide and self-harm prevention, E, including physical health, and then student health services, not just making it more general, not listing them all out, adding wellness to H. So yeah, most of these changes are just expanding the purview to be wellness and health. And K was a new section added. Assist the Student Health Advisory Committee in the annual Student Health Center Student Satisfaction Survey and reviewing the results. Again, so under committee members, changing it from, it was originally 10 to 6. Maximum of 3 students responsible for maintaining a relationship with the following offices. Here's all the offices listed. And the FSIC, the Fraternity and Sorority Enrollment Center, was also added. So there are also some changes here. We struck out some of it that didn't seem to make sense. So updating it from 1 to 2 senators. It originally said the Senate shall appoint another one, but that goes against like the way every other committee has their appointments handled. Health and Wellness Committee shall convene internally to appoint a chair of the committee by a majority vote. It originally was appointed by the BPCIA, which again doesn't make sense. Like the chair should be decided by the committee. This one strikes within 2 weeks instead of 3, just because, again, for consistency, the appointment being made within 2 weeks. Most committees are by the 2nd week, so just keep consistent with the rest of our bylaws. Just clarifying under here for the term. Under officers, section A, subsection A, It was added the chairperson will sit as a student representative on the Student Health Advisory Committee under officers, as well as on section B and C were added. The chair shall contact the committee members to coordinate the first committee meeting, preferably at the start of the academic year. In which a permanent vice chairperson shall be elected by a majority vote of the committee. The chair shall report to the Senate as needed. And then we just got rid of all of these special provisions because a lot of them were just not necessary for the current committee as it was. They're either addressed already or they were specific provisions for that particular. So principles of community in section 6, there's an addition, provide students with information on self-health care and wellness. Self-health care and wellness. And then again, provide students with information and variety of related health issues. So yeah, again, it was mental health. So this is a lot of this is just expanding it to be about a more holistic view of health. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of these are just and wellness related issues, so not just mental health at all. So that I'm going to approve the changes to chapter 43.
Second.
There's a motion to change the chapter 22 bylaws, seconded by Senator Lopez. And is there any debate or discussion on this item? Yes, Senator.
Just a question. So for the chair reporting to the Senate, which is C of for the section, section 4, student officers. Why did you get rid of these ones?
So we just put as needed because in the event that they don't need to, I mean, I don't know why that would be. Like, we don't, a lot of committee chairs don't report as it is. So we don't necessarily make it that they have to report or maybe they don't have anything to report. Just have them come and be like, hey, we're here. And as needed, we figured it would be at the discretion of the committee to know when they would need to report or when there were things that would need to get brought up to the committee. And since we have a section for committee chair reports, it would be.
Did you also, I know you went over it just now, but did you also change the part that it was be a Senate-led committee?
Can you repeat that, sorry?
That it was be a Senate-led committee, like a committee underneath the Senate?
So all committees are subcommittees. All ASUCR committees are subcommittees to the Senate.
Okay. I don't have a big problem with it, just that I feel that if it's something that is underneath the Senate, we should at least hear about it and the progress that it's making, and if there's no progress to intervene in that process.
No, I understand, I agree completely, but that would be for all committees as well. Because all committees, from GCAP, academics, external affairs are all committees under here. So ideally, they all should be reporting. It's not happening, but I also don't want to necessarily put undue burden on this particular committee that we don't hold the rest of the committees to the same standard of.
It's a little weird in a couple of things I clarify. Like some committees are directly under offices, so we don't really have direct jurisdiction besides calling the ex-officio, the vice president saying. There are committee spots, there are spots on the agenda just for committee chairpersons where they're like supposed to have the opportunity to come whenever they have a need as today. And then the Senate also of course has the authority to call whoever they so please to speak in front of them.
That's curious, thank you.
Yeah. There's a motion on the table, there's a second. Is there any more discussion or debate? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of adopting the proposed changes to chapter 43, my mistake, of the bylaws? And any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none, the vote passes unanimously. Moving on to the Finance and Constitution proposed change.
Okay, so this is actually a change to the ballot. So ballot language, before it can be put onto the ballot, language has to be approved through OSC, which it was, and it also needs to be approved by the Senate. So I'll read it, ballot language. ASUCR Constitutional Amendment, Article 4. Do you support making the Vice President of Finance a generally elected position, replacing the current appointment process? So as it is right now, the VP of Finance is appointed by Judicial, makes recommendations to the Senate. People apply, and then from those recommendations, Senate appoints, or they can reject them if they choose to, and ask for new nominations. So this would be making the Vice President of Finance elected and getting rid of that appointment process. So I guess just the primary rationale for this is that you should trust whoever is going to be taking care of the money, and I think that person should be elected.
The elections director?
Yeah, you struck out elections.
Oh, no, yeah, I was going to get to that, yeah. We're going to unstrike that. That was just an accident. That was a mistake. Yeah. So yeah, just whoever's in charge of like being custodian over the fund, they should be elected. And students should be making sure that they trust whoever it is. So we trust Judicial to make those appointments, but it's easier to just make it an elected position and have the people on the ballot so they know exactly who they're going with, as well as they can see the qualifications of the person. And yeah, as our elections director just pointed out, there actually is a strike through from elections director that will remain appointed. So we're actually going to strike that. Yes. So just with the exception of the elections director.
We can chalk that one up as a typo.
Yeah.
No. And would I take the motion?
Oh, you got it.
You want to do it? I'll do it.
I'm in. Yeah. Okay. So I move to approve this to be put on the ballot, making the VP of Finance elected.
There's a motion, there's a second to change the election of the finance vice president to a elected position. Is there any discussion, debate on this item? Seeing none, moves to a vote. All in favor of adopting this constitutional amendment? Any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none. Moving, this will be sent to the ballot for approval. Lastly, the Senate shall discuss and take action on the constitutional amendment.
All right. Last but not least, so this is for the creation of a new position. So just to give a little bit of context, GCAP, our GCAP chair actually just spoke earlier in the meeting. It's the Green Campus Action Plan. It's a $2.50 per quarter fee that goes to different sustainability initiatives. So as of right now, we have like over $300,000 for solar initiatives, as well as money for grants and internships. I was actually the GCAP chair last year, and being on the committee this year, I guess the rationale for wanting to create a director position for that is that, as I mentioned, we have like over $300,000 just for solar funds. And it's a lot of money to move. That budget dwarfs some other budgets, and it's just for a specific committee. So it's sometimes difficult when you need multiple approvals, not only from the committee, but from Senate, and you need to, it's also under an office, so it's under internal to get some of that money moving. A lot of it is actually stay the same, and a big complaint is that we have plenty of people with great sustainability initiatives, but we just haven't been spending the money. So the creation of the director position will give that person a little bit more autonomy in moving the funds and allocating them, and also holding hearings for grants and being, I guess, more open about the money being available and also disseminating it to students. Because while it's great that we have that money available, it'd be even better if we didn't, because it was being spent on great sustainability initiatives. And a lot of the problem is just that students don't know how to get it. So this will be talked about later in the bylaws, but holding hearings similar to how outreach does and how finance do for green grants, that would be one of the powers of the director. So this is just creation of the position, so I'll read the ballot language. It will be amending Article 4 and Article 9. Do you support the addition of the Green Campus Action Plan Director to the ASUCR Executive Branch and adding the Green Campus Action Plan Committee to the committee's article? So under Article 4, which is Executive Branch, Section A, it's just adding the Green Campus Action Plan Director under G as one of the non-voting director positions, as well as under Article 9, Section B, the subordinate committees in ASUCR, adding the Green Campus Action Plan Committee. And this is basically pulled directly from the current committee. So will be chaired by the director, what they're responsible for, overseeing implementation of the referendum, the completion of any projects, overseeing the internship program as is described in the referendum, and delegating all GCAP referendum funds. So that includes, as I mentioned, grants, the solar funds, and all of that. So there's just one, oh yeah, got it.
Will this be an elected or an appointed position?
This would be, I think, actually I didn't double check that. I believe this would be, as it is right now, it would be.
Like, it will be elected the following year.
Can I clarify, actually? I've been meaning to talk to, Lori, I've been meaning to talk to you about it actually, because I did, I was one of the leading organizers to create the non-traditional director, which is almost the exact same thing. They're going through the process now. And the executive director more or less told me that it'd be on the ballot the first year as to approve the position, and then elected the second year and appointed the first year. And that's, I was told, the way it was always done. I talked to the state register on a tour that was there, because I'm a tweet on that side. But when they created a position in the county and in the state, they put something on the ballot language more along the lines that should we approve the creation of this position, and if so, out of these candidates, who would you appoint, or who would you elect? So, I know across the state they do it like in one, and if there's any possible chance we could do it in one, it would save us a lot of time, and director could have more of a chance to get up and running, especially since it's a new position.
This came up in the LRC as well. I'm personally in favor of having it be appointed for the simple reason that GCAP and sustainability in general is something you can't really be dispassionate about. And I would hate to have someone fill a slate with someone because they needed to put someone on the slate to have a GCAP director and then not actually be caring about sustainability work or getting it done. Not that you don't have to be passionate about marketing or about outreach or personnel, but it's a very, very different thing. And you need someone who really cares about sustainability issues. Which is why I think appointment personally would be better. That way, Judicial can select people who have demonstrated sustainability, like knowledge or an interest in that.
Yes, Vice President.
Well, how I wrote it is supposed to be elected the following year, but this year, the first year, it would be if the Constitution did get approved, the amendment did get approved, then it would go to special election. And then they would be elected by the Senate elect.
Thank you.
And I would be for a general election, just like all the director, except the election director.
Is it language?
No, I said because there's no specific language talking about how the process would be handled.
Yes.
I also talked to Teresa regarding like the appointment process. That should not be on the Constitution. That should be in the bylaws.
Yes.
And that should be in the bylaws if the Constitution were to get approved.
Yeah, that was going to be discussed as soon as this passes. We can discuss that.
Yeah. Yeah. So not now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on.
Wait,
Wait, actually, hold on. Can I see real quick? Scroll down the GCAP. Yeah, scroll down.
So I'm going to move to approve the ballot language for the GCAP director.
Second.
There's a motion on the table to approve the ballot language for GCAP director. Is there a second?
Second. Wait.
Yes.
I have a question real quick. Is that point of clarification? Is it supposed to be a line to the GCAP director?
Yes.
Yes. Because the line above it says the same thing.
Yeah, superfluous to have it there, but
Yeah.
Honestly, do you want to just take it off then? Totally? Why is it even like?
Yeah, because the striking through is us taking it off.
But you're adding this to the Constitution. Was it in
The striking through means it was there in the original copy and it was taken off.
So it's not going to be added on the Constitution?
No, they're not going to put something with strike through on the Constitution. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Just my own personal opinion, because over the summer, I had to serve as the interim GCAP chair and oversee it. The budget for this is larger than any ECAP, actually all ECAP budgets combined. Maybe it's finance, but it warrants, I think, a lot more appreciation and a higher level of gravitas. But I also personally believe it should be elected only in that it would self-select, I think, outstanding people who do care about sustainability to try to get engaged in AS.
Thank you. There's a motion. There's a second. Is there any debate or discussion? Yes.
Just a question. So as of right now, accepting this, what would be the process for it?
There's no outline process in these proposed constitutional amendment. It would be though in the changes to the bylaws, which we have not yet proposed.
Yeah, assuming this passes.
So the constitutional amendment is actually usually really short. You could probably just put the GCAP director on the very front, left of committee part, and still have put
specification of
yeah.
bylaws.
So it's going to be the bylaw, I'm assuming, next week.
Oh yeah.
And then, is there any other discussion, debate? Seeing none, let's move this to a vote. All in favor of adopting this constitutional amendment to create the GCAP director position? Any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none, unanimously. Moving on to officer reports. We will start with President Romano and Chairman, would you mind bringing up the report. The Senate Secretary just wants you.
My laptop died,
Oh,
so.
Don't worry, I see her. We can shop it for some. Yes.
Point of personal privilege.
Unless there's any more.
You're not the board.
You do not, I do not need a vote.
Wait, to clarify real quick. Vice President, do either you need a vote for any of your?
We already got finance done, right?
Kind of not technically.
Oh, I think it's
Yeah, it's try to push us along.
We just gonna stay here in your forever. Or we just go home and the meeting's.
Point of order? Point of order. President Rano, you have the floor.
Okay, so as many of you know, I'm the chair of the Chancellor's Advisory Committee for Sexual Assault Prevention, so this is the first update. So, Ask on Sexual Harassment and Sexual Violence Prevention will be holding our first event on April 19th with a guest speaker named Heather Marlowe. She'll be performing a one-woman show of her experience with an investigation of her personal rape kit. There will be an educational aspect of this, so that it's not just a complete downer at the end, and we'll be providing UCR resources for the students who attend, and also have opportunities for different groups to table in front who work with sexual assault prevention. For finals week parking, so in collaboration with TAPS, ASUCR has confirmed its second finals week parking services provided to all students. We are currently waiting, that's from yesterday. So TAPS has updated their website, and so we have put the social media promotions up and have sent out a campus-wide email earlier today. If you all remember it's been about 2 months now, I talked about that the marketing from last quarter is what made the project suffer a lot, just because by the time TAPS had really approved the project, it was Thursday of week 10, and so it just didn't give us enough time. So we felt that starting to advertise Wednesday of week 9 would really help get students, especially the students with gold permits, the opportunity to get their blue permits during week 10 in preparation. So the program will be the same as last quarter, but this time a survey will be provided to students when they go to the TAPS office to pick up their one-day blue permit. A survey was sent out to those who picked up a gold permit because we had their emails, and that was really helpful with figuring out how we wanted to do this for winter. Some farther TAP updates. I mentioned last time that I reported in Senate meeting that I'd look into having TAPS provide overnight parking for student guests. It turns out that these lots already exist near Pentland and Lothian. So if you're seeking overnight parking, you can buy a permit at lot 23 and lot 14. And to kind of build off of that, Corey and I, we were at that meeting together, and on our drive back to campus, we were kind of talking about how even Corey and myself, two very involved students, didn't even know this information. So it's likely that if the two of us didn't know this information, the general student population wouldn't either. So currently I'm seeking Senate intern fellow involvement on an online resource that provides students with information such as this in one central location. So currently I have one intern from one youth group and then one from Giselle's group that have shown interest. And then Shafi also mentioned his fellows would be assigned to this too. So I'm just looking for one more individual just because I want a team of 5 to work on this with me. The next thing is the UC Women's Caucus. So 4 members of the Council of Presidents have been working on a UC Women's Caucus. Just some background information, 5 undergraduate student body presidents are women. So that's why we've been focusing on this. The document has received support from Jim Sandoval's office, the Women's Resource Center, the LGBT Resource Center, and I have a meeting with our campus governmental relations office next Thursday to get his support on it too, or their support on it too. And then next quarter, I'll probably be bringing it to Senate just to look over and support as well. We're looking to have a conference in May at UCLA with different female speakers to discuss women in the workplace, wage equity, and legislation focused on women and our allies' needs. So it would be great when we're getting ready for that conference in May to have Senate involvement. You do not have to be a woman to help. You can be our allies too, and I would much appreciate your help there. The next is Legacy Path updates. So Julia and I went, to have a meeting yesterday with our campus architect, our senior physical planner, and Andy Plumley to discuss the Legacy Path proposal. They're working on contacting the committee for naming different parts of campus so that we can start getting signage in the area. The goal is to have this before orientation so that orientation leaders will be able to point out the Legacy Path as being a place for students to enjoy. And then we're also figuring out logistics for Wi-Fi and crisis poles. Will you go back, please? Thank you. And we're also reaching out, Julia and I are, to our campus art committee because we really want this area to be a place where you can relax or study or look at art and have class of benches. So we're really looking for this to be a great area for especially first years to hang out in. And then I'll move on to the next page. So Wade Harris, he's our vote director. I'm not sure if he came in to today's meeting, but I had asked him to. He did not? Okay. So I met with him and Tess from CalPERD yesterday, and we just wanted to discuss plans for getting students registered to vote. And so Andy Plumley has given us the go-ahead to table in the resident halls during spring quarter, which is really huge for us. It gives us a huge opportunity to reach out to the freshman community, and this tabling has, he's never really allowed us to do this for voter reg in the past, so it's really cool for us. So Wade is in communication with their people to have tabling 2 times a week from 5 to 9 in the resident halls. And so something I charged the ECAB to do in our ECAB meeting is to get 5 students registered to vote before the end of the winter quarter. So that means everyone who's elected or appointed on our horseshoe, I'm charging you to get 5 students registered, whether that counts with yourself and your friends. I think this will really help Wade reach his goal of voter registration. And I also think that we as an association should be representing these important aspects of our American government. Getting students registered to vote is very important. And finally, for office hours, Taylor and I will be going over the Senate's office hours. If you remember at the beginning of the winter quarter, I mentioned how important it was that you fulfill your bylaws of having office hours and attending them. And also make sure that you send your updated office hours to Taylor for the spring quarter because these need to be updated on the website. And this also goes along with ECAP too. And then it's not on there, but another point that I brought up in ECAB meeting is office etiquette, and that includes the cleanliness of our kitchen area and our workspace area. So I may sound like a broken record because this is like the 4th time I said this here, but please be sure that you and your interns, your fellows, your friends, your office staff, anyone who is coming into the office is respectful of our space and not leaving spills in the kitchen, spills in the microwave. You have this opportunity to work in a very nice office that is funded for by students, and you have the opportunity to be an elected or an appointed member, so please respect the office by keeping it clean. When you do not clean up after yourself, usually Amy, our professional staff, is the one that cleans up after you, and it is definitely not in her job description to do so. So I'm not pointing fingers at anyone on the horseshoe, but please pass it on to your interns, fellows, staff, etc. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the president? Yes.
Yield my time to parliamentarian Marty.
Just in regards to the voter director and voter registration thing. My club, College Democrats at ASUCR, we also do a lot of voter registration. We have a lot of forms and actually going on at the moment. But the only problem is that we don't really, we rather than us turn it in, we like to give it to the external vice president for, not external, I'm sorry. External affairs vice president because it's just a lot smoother transition because it's more of a legitimate thing to give it to them. However, since there technically isn't an external affairs vice president and the door is locked, we don't really know how to go about giving our voter registration.
Can I respond? So the reason that I'm even talking to Wade about this issue, even though he's not part of my office, is because of the vacancy. And with the office, being vacant, I want to be sure that stuff like voter registration is still able to go on, and I feel like that would then fall under my duties as president to oversee the actions of our office, even if that position's vacant. So for the end of the winter quarter, you can turn them into myself or to Wade, and I will save those and give them to the VP of External Affairs starting in the spring.
I gotta clarify real quick. Voter reg forms are taken very seriously, and there's a 3-day to 5-day limit on when you can turn them in, or they won't be taken at all. So if you have one on you, you should give it to the president soon so she could.
And I will take care of it.
Any other questions for the president? Yes, Senator Willis.
Well, just real quick, I already talked about this, but yeah, I'll talk to you more about that.
The intern involvement thing?
Yeah, that thing. Just because I have a similar project, so we make sure we're doing the same thing. But I'll talk to you about it.
Oh,
No.
sorry.
Okay, Senator Chow.
I
know on the Mayor's College Forum, before, I believe in the past, they would create a brochure of 100 things, or I'm not sure how many it was, but things that you probably don't know about Riverside, places to go in Riverside. So I think not only should we limit it to the places at UCR, but also branch out to like downtown Riverside and the community as well. Totally agree.
Any last comments for the president? Seeing none. Thank you. I will move on to my report, and I will hopefully keep it brief. Some of the things I'm going to reiterate, so I won't talk too much on what President Morano said. I do need your office hours for spring. If you send it over, that'd be perfect. And I'll be emailing you all I would like to say tonight, but most likely tomorrow, really early in the morning. As soon as you know your office hours for spring quarter, as well as your class schedule, so we can schedule when the meeting's going to be. We'll try and stick to the usual time, but we'll do whatever works best for our schedules. And then for two things that we're both taking really seriously, me and the president are enforcing center duties. One of them, we're going to be going back and making sure you're all meeting your office hours, as well as making sure you're meeting your quote of legislation for the winter quarter, something that you all passed earlier this quarter. Luckily enough, we haven't submitted that yet, even though it looks like we submitted like 10 items of business today. There's one more meeting. And my office is just setting up the shared drive, which we've been upkeeping you all on that. And I have my fellow just starting laying out groundwork for the end of year banquet if anyone wants to jump on that project really early. And I'll include my report there. Any questions? Yes. Good, cool. Vice President of Campus External Affairs.
Thank you. So, on Monday, our GCAP director, Eileen, presented a little bit earlier, and we sat as panelists at the UCR's Climate Action Plan, charrette, first time I've actually heard that word, where we discussed our campus goals and strategic initiatives for meeting UCR's carbon neutral goal of 2025. Something that's been in the offing for a long time in setting long-term strategic planning for our university, and we had a lot of great takeaway from the event. For instance, making UCR's entire fleet of vehicles fully electric by 2020, coordinating a big expansion of our public transportation and the creation of a transit hub, which I'll bring up a little bit later, as well as, and this is probably one of the bigger things, having heavy institutional funding for students to get access to all kinds of sustainability initiatives, however they might be in terms of research, projects, community service. It was very holistic and very comprehensive, and so I'm sure we're going to be seeing updates on that very soon. So a lot to look forward to. For academic affairs, although Angelica couldn't be here tonight, I wanted to pass along from the Academic Affairs Committee, setting up the second quarter of the Final Survival events. These are very popular events. Everybody knows the Final Survival Snack Wagon, as well as the pizza that gets handed out during Orbach. We're setting up our second quarter of the 24-hour libraries for students to study in Orbach. So that starts next week. So if you have to study, the libraries will be open, ASUCR sponsored, 24 hours a day. If anyone is interested in volunteering for these events, just let me or Angelica know, that'd be great. The Academic Senate meeting was last week. I attended. They discussed the hiring of the 300 new faculty for our university. They're going to be adding a few dozen actually in this year, and there were two major concerns. One was exactly where to put all these new professors. They're all going to need offices. They're all going to have TAs who are going to need offices, and it kind of just flows from there. The second one was the diversity of faculty hiring, to actually have professors who reflect the student body that they're actually teaching at. The Chancellor was present, made his presentation, reiterated his intention to commit to hiring more diverse faculty, and noted actually our diversity rates among our faculty are increasing, even without new hiring, because a lot of our older professors are retiring, and our older professors tend to be a lot less diverse. So even by doing nothing, we are getting slightly more diverse. So these hirings are in combination with a new fundraising push from our Vice Chancellor of University Advancement, Peter Hayashida. He outlined a proposal for $350 million goal of fundraising over the next couple of years. This is actually in large part to fund some of the UC master plan that Senator Kat brought up a little bit earlier, which I'll bring up as well. I also wanted to make a mention of our Diversity Council Town Hall. I got to see a couple of you there. I was really appreciate that. I thought it was a great success. Our Diversity Council Chair Alana put together an excellent event with a lot of representation. I'm sure there are other folks who are able to speak on this a little bit more in depth than I'm able to, but I know that having an honest dialogue with administration on the needs of our underserved communities are a pure positive. So I'll be looking forward to what that town hall produces. Food Truck Festival is back. Yeah, it'll be an exciting time. We're going to be offering more diverse cuisine in terms of cultural foods, as well as vegan-friendly items for all UCR people. Marketing is being handled currently. We'll be looking to recruit. I'll be looking to you to recruit volunteers in the near future. The date is set for Tuesday, April 12th, right in the middle of elections week. Hooray! Either way, I'm sure it'll be a big success. It always is. Capital planning. So this is a meeting actually that was this morning. We attended a capital planning meeting where we discussed the master plan of UCR. A lot of new discussion on new buildings, new parking structures, transit hubs, laboratories. I mean, big things that the university wants to accomplish over the next decade or so. Uma from capital planning, who you all have gotten a presentation from before, will be in early next quarter to give you all a more detailed analysis on exactly what are in these proposals. Lastly, for bike share, I wanted to save the best news for last. I don't see Daniel Robles, so I'll just shoot him another email to give him an update, I guess. But the campus architect, as of this morning, has approved the bike share locations. Something that I am personally happy about, and I want to really thank you all because I know I came to you a couple weeks ago expressing a little bit of my frustration on some of the bureaucratic slowdown that accompanied that. So I'm very happy that that is kind of like nudged in the right direction. The next step, I'm meeting this Friday with Marianne Valenti, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, from Capital Planning. We're just going to be discussing the land use agreements we have with the University Village. This is actually separate from the bike share program in itself. The last step for that is just to sign the contract at this point. But for the University Village, it's that the most popular station that was chosen by the focus groups done over the summer was at the UV. Was that?
26.
Okay. So I figure it's actually a no-brainer. Anyway, that concludes my report. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Thank you all for your help and getting this.
Any questions? See none. Vice President Finance, your report.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, we did your committee report. Is there an actual additional report?
Yeah, I just wanted to have two things to address. Cool. We are going to have a Senate meeting next week, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm going to have another amendment to a referendum. It's going to be to the student voice initiative, and I'm going to tell you all to review it by Monday. It's worth it. And also, I wanted to address something that Jim Sandoval talked about earlier. So can you go down, please? Down. Okay, so right here, wait, up. Okay. So it says the Highlander Union Governing Board, Hub Governing Board, a group responsible for assuring that the student priorities are considered foremost in the programming policy, procedure, and practice for the facility. This is for the facility, this is for programming policy, this is not actually for hosting special events. And not only that, this is part of the introduction. This is not part of the actual funding. This is not actual, that we are allowed to use funding. When you go down, it talks about the funding. It talks about that the funding is supposed to be only, the funds will fund most of the construction, expansion, maintenance of the facility, as well as the operation cost. It does not talk about anything about hosting events. And this is the funding. This is where it talks where the money is going to go to. That part, go up. This is just an introduction. This has no authority of how to use the funding or how to use the student fees. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Were there any questions? Oh, Taylor stepped out, by the way. So, he had one personal privilege, so yeah, I'm all hopping. Were there any questions for the Vice President of Finance?
I think all of
One personal privilege. No. My mom's here to pick me up.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay.
Any questions? Seeing none. That means officer. No, it does not. No. It does not. I'm sorry, I apologize. We'll start with the non-official director.
Okay, so my conference yesterday at the Walter went really well. We were able to pass out all 200 of the bags that we made, and thank you to Casey for helping me make And then also during the event, we collected those 200 surveys where they wrote the concerns that they had. So I'll be working with my committee on how to address those concerns. And then I've also met with Student Life and Transfer Outreach Program to discuss an end of the year banquet that we want to put on together for non-official students, and that concludes my report.
Are there any questions for the director?
Congratulations on your event.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the director? No questions?
More the first one.
Yes. I'm sure it's really important. And hopefully there's any election director.
All right, so up through March 1st, I have had 14 candidates attend mandatory meetings. I'm still aware of many rumors of parties, though, and further candidates. I am encouraging all who plan on running to get to the meetings and submit their packets and in other forms sooner rather than later. And again, I will reiterate, I will not be hosting any additional candidates meetings after March 10th. I've made more than enough opportunities compared to previous years. For elections week, the elections committee has decided to bring in Carl's Jr. again to give away over 200 orders. Yes. On April 13th, the day after the Food Truck Festival. So, there will be veggie burgers, hamburgers, and cheeseburgers available to order for the first 200 students that vote at the polling location that day. And so for debates, on the day we arrive back from spring break to start spring quarter, Monday, March 28th, we will be hosting the senatorial debate. And Wednesday, March 30th, we will be hosting the director debate. Week 2, the executive cabinet debate will be held on Monday 4th, and the presidential debate will be held April 6th. This is the same dates that were on the timeline I presented. However, I wish to reiterate that so people are aware of those deadlines. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. One clarification.
Yeah.
Did you already submit the order for?
Yes.
So we can't like change like, you know, like maybe a couple triples or?
No. That's not what. That's Carl Jr. not.
Oh, yeah.
In and out.
Any other questions for the director?
I got one.
Yes.
That's another question. When you're asking a question, it's a point of inquiry. When you're trying to clarify something stated, it's a point of clarification. Sorry.
Thank you, Marty.
Yeah, part of parliamentary procedure. Read it.
All right. Order, please. Thank you. Public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address this board on this matter today? Anything that happened specifically on the agenda?
Yes. I just have.
Or that happened here today?
I just have a quick question about the hub referendum. I was aware that a campus-wide survey was sent out yesterday afternoon to gauge student voice on this referendum. However, I would like clarification on the value of that survey, which was a cost of ASUCR to send out in the first place when voting was done today without even mentioning the survey or seeing the results.
Julian, you want to comment or?
Yeah, I'm done.
Vice President.
Okay, I was going to actually provide it to the campus administration. It was more purpose for them to gauge their like the feedback from the students, because I feel like most of the students would know how they like how most students feel. And also, I would like to add that I sent this as a regular student, and I did not go through ASUCR.
But I'm also curious. Senate is supposed to represent students, so why wouldn't this survey be sent? Because I feel like that would help a lot in the decision. If Senate is to make decisions based on what the student body wants, why wouldn't you bring up the survey that was sent to the student body?
You're actually right. Honestly, I didn't have enough time to print it out. But if you all want to know, the survey result was 92% of it to support to have it on to place the amended referendum on the ballot.
And that was sent yesterday afternoon, right?
Yes, and I could also share it with all of you, and I'll email that to you too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a queue on this. We'll start with Senator Tatley. Did anyone want to speak? Oh, sorry. We'll start actually with President Morano, then Senator Tatley, then Election Director Reyes. Did I miss anyone? Seeing none, President Morano.
Yeah, I just kind of want to echo what Julia said, just because in the email that was sent by Shafi to the entire student body, it did say that their survey answers would help determine what the Senate voted for. So you can't really say like, oh, I was planning on bringing it to administration when the actual text said that you'd be bringing it here and you did not. And your signature represents ASUCR when it says President of Finance, the ASUCR logo. So even though like it came wrongfully from your office because it wasn't approved to be sent, you do represent the association when you represent your title and when you state your title. But that's a side story, but going off of what Julia said, you did say that you would be bringing it to Senate, and it was not brought to Senate.
Can I answer?
Address the chair.
That was addressed to the chair, so.
Okay. May I answer?
I don't really.
Yeah, it wasn't really a.
Well,
Mine wasn't a question, it was a statement, so I
It
don't
was a
really.
statement. It wasn't a whole the same. Is there anything else we can talk about after the meeting outside this public forum? Space is for just the concerns of the.
Sorry, point of order, that's kind of inconsistent. You allow other people to respond to comments.
Comments towards like between the speaker as well as the member of the board, not between.
Right. And also, you also make it a habit to choose senators before. So I'm not sure quite why that was changed.
Oh,
I just would like consistency.
Yeah, no, okay. No, election done in the meantime. The only reason I did this time was because it was an issue that the president could speak about more regularly than I.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're right. I should have asked the senators first. There's their space. Senator Taylor.
Hi, Julia. I'm really glad you brought it up. I think we should be consistent in how things are presented to us from here on out. Regarding this specific decision, I don't see how our decision was. I mean, so what we decided on was to put it on the ballot just so students can vote, and it was pretty, like the majority of us did say yes to give students a voice on whether or not they would want the money going to. So in this particular instance, I don't think that we did a bad thing by voting, but I do agree that we should stay consistent in how things are presented to us and what we vote on based on like information that was provided to students, and we should be more consistent on just overall and just the aspects of what is promised to students.
Yeah, going off of that, like I see where you're coming from because it is like a ballot item. I was just curious, like what is the value of sending out a student-wide survey if we're not gonna value it when we're voting? So that was just like my only concern. So thank you.
Director Reyes. Vice President.
Okay, so in the email, it says that depending on your input, we will ask Senate to approve the amendment. So it did not say that I will present it. It's depending on your input, I will present it to Senate. And if they have a positive, what is it called? Response for the amendment to be placed on the ballot, then I would do that, and that's what I did. Like I said, it also came from me, not from ASUCR. And this is what I'm proposing as an elected official. And also as a ASUCR appointed health governing board member.
But that's a bit contradicting if you're presenting yourself as a student and then saying that you have the power to do that as an elected official.
No,
Like, do you see where that is?
All right, let's try to address the
Okay.
concerns of the board again. And this is a public office, so feel free to address it outside of the board and in their office hours that are duly posted. Is there anything else, Julia?
No, that's it.
Thank you again for your time. Last call for public comment.
Good evening, Jim Sandoval, Vice Chancellor Student Affairs. I just wanted to address the hub referendum proposal, and it's not addressing it as a matter of content. We could be here debating all night long about that, but rather the issue is a matter of process. And typically the way that a referendum and specifically an amended referendum would be undertaken. I think the first important point, and I want to say that the vote, there's nothing wrong with the vote, okay? My role as the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs is to work with students that are interested in making referendum proposals to develop it in a manner that it will have the greatest, that it will be acceptable from the perspective of university guidelines, federal, state law, etc. And that's the role that I play. As far as the process, typically for a significant referendum, and this referendum is a significant one, that it can take several months in order to run it through all the respective processes. As was already mentioned, that it will go to my office. What I'll do is I'll consult with the Office of the President, I'll consult with General Counsel on the matter, and then ultimately go through an iterative process with whoever has drafted the language with it to give preliminary feedback. And then once we develop the amendments to the language, we'll send it on to the Office of the President for review via the Chancellor's office. Of course, the Chancellor will have an opportunity for feedback on that, etc. So just, it can be an extended process, and what I want to particularly say about this one is that the original referendum is funding this entire facility, so it's going to be scrutinized at a higher level. And the reason for that is that the referendum yields funding to pay the debt service or mortgage on this particular building. That's where most of the money goes. That's a long-term debt obligation that has to be in place so that I know that what the folks who are looking at this from a business perspective within the Office of the President and certainly General Counsel will be looking at is in terms of whether or not any amendments would threaten the solvency to the building down the road. And again, I'm not talking about content. Frankly, I'm not, I haven't looked at the referendum. What I looked up really quickly was on my iPhone, and I have not seen the specific language that was there. Again, the major point is that there is an extensive process, and what I want to be clear about is that my office is fully intending to be transparent throughout the process, to work with the Senate as it's going through. I am afraid, though, that we don't have a lot of time in order to get it through what the normal process would be.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Real quickly before you leave, Vice Chancellor, are there any questions for? Seeing none? Yes. We're at time?
I motion to extend time. No, none.
Thank you, Jim Sam.
I missed most of that, but someone here restate the motion?
The motion's I'm taking the motion on the table. Yeah, I couldn't think of
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
That's true. We're
We can't vote all. Yeah.
I can extend time, but I will. I'm now dictator.
I will overrule you.
Anyway, last call for public comment. And last call for public comment. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Okay, my apologies again. Let's start with the president.
Pass.
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 So, Tuesday.
This is his right, and we're glad you're bringing this 2 days.
You go, Devin. You tell us about your event.
I mean, it's not my event, but Tuesday, March 8th, National IHOP Free Pancake Day. Let me explain why. Let me explain why.
Point of order.
Order, no, seriously, order though, please.
They do this in coordination with the Children's Miracle Network, which is an organization that, provides funds for children with need and basically supports families who can't afford treatment for their children. So if you guys go, and I suggest you guys do, and you guys get free pancakes, just ship in $1 or $2 and donate to the Children's Miracle Network. Much appreciated. Sorry, Angela. You can talk about it still, but yeah. It's a representative of my fraternity.
We're not eating pancakes together.
9:30 a.m. meeting with Chastine tomorrow. That's really only if the dad's going to be recorded already.
Yeah, we already
We're going 9:30. Gotcha.
Well, I only told her one person was going to be there, by the way, because none of you got back to me. So
It's a surprise for her.
Hi,
Senator Senga.
Five-side power pump tournaments on Saturday. I'm playing, so if you want to watch me destroy some girls, you should go. I go. Not me. I do too.
9 to 2
blame each other.
and
Blame Field.
Field.
Yeah.
So we can pick sides.
You need to choose wisely.
Mayor's College Forum is hosting Amazing College Race. It's basically for all the students to participate. We'll be competing with all the other universities around Riverside. If you're interested, please come and talk to me because we definitely want UCR to win and represent. So there's also a scholarship winner prize. Oh, they haven't officially came out with the date yet, but come talk to me and we will start to plan for that.
What's their
UCR 's gonna win.
UCR teams?
Well, we're just gonna win.
Yeah, we're gonna dominate.
That's it.
Okay, as the main director, president, College Democrats at UC are going to have Congressman Mark Takano speak at week 2 of next quarter, and we'd like the promotion that was provided to Senator Duff Sunheim by ASUCR. I mean, it's an elected representative, and he's in our area, so it's like cool. Huh? Yeah, he's in elected, yeah. That's about it. So we can talk later about it.
Highlights for Sanders, which just got the t-shirts and they'll be giving out events, whatever they go to, and we'll make sure to get one to the hub, not hub, Bears Den, as well as to ASUCR, which is represented entirely, not by one person. And it'll be a lot of fun.
Cap Sigma pledges are having a fundraiser at the Olive Shop tomorrow. Come through. Shout out to Stephen Alonzo Jackson.
What time?
Oh, it's 6? I'll check right now.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
It's fast. Power Club on Saturday. There's also International Pancake Day, which is happening on the 8th. If you want to go get pancakes with me, you can, because I always feel like they're donuts. It's for the children. And I love pancakes.
Remember the other side of Ex-officio, any last round table? On that note, honors.
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Adjourn the meeting. Sit all down. We did not adjourn this meeting yet.
We're still
Adjourn this meeting. Good, everybody. Love you all.
Eric,